3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin.
And welcome back to another episode of the podcast. It's actually episode 264, brought to you as always by WSC Performance and JCT Truck and Trailer Rental. And the episode sponsor this week,
yes, a bit of me is this. It's Mongrel Boots, which are an Australian manufacturer. They're 5 generations old, formed in Australia in 1930. Farms, building sites. To be honest, I need to get me a pair of these, 100%.
I feel like if you open the Mongrel Boots catalogue, it's actually a picture of Joe.
On site?
The mullet, the flannel shirt, maybe not the shorts, but yeah, it's just missing the boots. So basically, if you want to look like Joe, or you've got a real job.
Yeah, no, let's rephrase that, Josh. If you actually got to work for a living.
Yeah,
and have to get blathered every day, get a set of Mongrel Boots. I'm
not required at my keyboard, but definitely required
on building site.
Yeah,
100%.
And anyway, that should actually bring us on to our guest. We're joined in the studio by Mitch Rees. How's it going?
Yeah, it's good. It's great to get the invite and be on here. You know, to be fair, it's sort of watched a few episodes now, so it's I guess to be fair, the first one I watched was when Damo and Shane were both on here. So yeah, it's pretty cool to now sort of be here and be part of it.
Be in the hot seat.
Yeah, something
like
that.
Pressure. There's no pressure.
No, there's not. There's just chatting shit, I think.
That
isn't
is 100% all we do.
We've done about 45 minutes of chatting shit before we actually pressed record, but so we've probably got nothing else for you to listen to. So if you
Thanks for tuning in. It's been nice.
If you want to turn over to another channel. No, in all seriousness, thank you very much for making the journey up. So we are actually camped out at the Rouse household in the usual spot, and actually it's a sunny Newcastle that you've came up to today. So thanks for making the journey up for us. Delighted to have you on, and actually really looking forward to hearing your story as well, because I obviously know who you are and know the background and stuff, but you've got quite an exciting, certainly the last year has been very exciting, so looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah,
where are you based, by the way? You're not? Oh, right, okay.
No, Gypsy. Yeah, we've sort of just been bouncing around. I spent sort of a month out in Spain. End of February, went to Cartagena with Padgett team. 3 days there, then back, did a few days on the Isle of Man, just doing some homework, getting ready for this year again. And then back to the UK, borrowed a van and 2 bikes from Clive. You know, like, what a guy, you know, lent me the van, a couple of bikes, and me and Dad took off to Spain and went riding for a couple of weeks. And then, yeah, so it was good to get out and just get some testing in, get some riding in. And then, yeah, from now we're sort of just here, there and everywhere.
So you don't go back and enjoy the New Zealand sun?
Nah. No. The problem is the cost. You know, it's such a cost and it's such a long way to get here. Like, we flew, when we left home, it was 33 hours from home to Spain, and then literally drove to Cartagena and then was on track next day, which probably wasn't the greatest sort of thing, but you got over the jet lag pretty quick.
Just run on adrenaline for a little bit.
When did you leave home then? You say
25th, I think it was, of February.
So you've been out for a few months.
Yeah, so it's 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. So, and then my wife and my mum, they come over 3 weeks ago, something like that. So yeah.
Cool. And we should give a shout out to your good lady who you've actually locked in the front of the van.
Yeah, she's watching reels of dogs and God knows what else. So she's just sitting there giggling away before. So yeah.
Yeah, bless her. So at least, well, like I say, at least the weather's good. So she'll be topping up her tan there. But so will you stay here in the UK now of Europe for the rest of the season, or how does that kind of work for you?
Yeah, so the plan is till after TT, then we'll head home. We're sort of bouncing around, so going to go to Clive's father's funeral Thursday, and then we're going to go to Italy, go see Davey at the specialist centre there. Just, I guess, it'd be good to see him, to be fair.
Yeah.
When did you last see him?
Macau.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you and him have become pretty close, haven't you?
Yeah. They're just one of those friendships that just came from nowhere, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be good to catch up with him. He's like a brother, like one of your best mates now, you know. So good to see him. Obviously, you know, it's been tough, you know, for him. Been a hard sort of month now, big injury, and he's doing all the right things, trying to get back to 100% and or some sort of percentage before he decides on what he's going to do.
It's worth saying for people that are listening. So if you didn't listen to the catch up or you didn't know, Davey had a big one at Daytona, didn't he? Which wasn't any of his fault. It was a mechanical.
Yeah, it's just one of those, he got
sort of a freak accident.
Collected, I think, in the first qualifying session by another rider.
Yeah. And
then the bike was a little bit damaged. They got back. I think they touched it up and, just did all your standard things. And then just one of those, I think something in the steering lock might have got bent or something like that, but didn't know. He did like 4 laps, I think he said.
Yeah,
and then, ended up the steering jam. So, which, hey, you can't really blame anyone for that. It's
just one of those freak things that just happens.
Everything's tucked in behind fairings and there's intake scoops and all that stuff in the way. So just really unfortunate sort of circumstances that led to something that was, not really great for him.
Ideal.
No. So he bit the barrier head first, didn't he, about 100 mile an hour?
Yeah, something
which,
like that,
which did his left femur and his right tib and
just tib. I think he broke the bottom of his tib off, so they've screwed that back in, and then a rod in his femur.
Yeah.
And then I think he did something to his shoulder as well, but not really too sure on that. And then broke his nose, so he's not as pretty as he once was. So
well, he's got to come down a few pegs.
Well,
like the rest of us,
he can't be the best.
Around in this.
Can't be one of the best guys and be that pretty.
Damn it, OnlyFans. But now he's gone to a specialist facility in Italy, hasn't he?
Yeah. Which
is like the dog's bollocks of a place. And it's
Yeah, he said like BMW's like helped make that happen, and it's I guess they want him to be there for the roads, and they want him to get better as well. So it's really cool for a manufacturer to be backing their rider that much that they're willing to make that happen. So kudos to BM for making that happen for him.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to head out there for some sunshine and a bit of a visit, maybe?
Yeah, go and spend 3 or 4 days over there, and then back to probably Andorra because it's where he's based.
Cool.
And then I don't know, for me it's sort of free accommodation, but it's also just get to see a little bit of the world,
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
We went out there and spent about a week there before Donington test, so that was quite cool. We actually ended up going skiing because it started snowing like the day before, so Abby had turned up, so we went skiing, and my wife, she had never been skiing before, so that was her first time, so it was kind of cool. It was just good to go somewhere different and sort of see this side of the world.
Is it the same for you guys in New Zealand? I lived in Australia for a little bit, and you talk to the Aussies and they think Europe's amazing. Sorry, I'm not going to speak for all Australians. A lot of Aussies that I spoke to thought that Europe's kind of magical because you can fly into Spain and then you're an hour's flight from Switzerland and France and Germany and the UK. It's just so accessible to be in completely different places and culture. Is that the same for you guys when you came over?
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot. Like you come over this side of the world and like you got different languages, and like we don't have that. Like Australia and New Zealand, like it's English, and we've got a little bit of Māori within New Zealand, but no one's fluent in speaking that. So you're pretty much just hearing people speaking English everywhere, whereas you go to all these countries and you're like, you almost feel a little bit rude that you don't know enough of their language, but we're so far removed from it that, you kind of, it's a little bit of a hard one. You try and learn the simple greetings and things like that as much as we can, but we haven't sort of grown up around it like I guess you guys have. And
we still can't speak the lingos either, don't worry.
It is awesome, like literally you jump on a plane and within 3 hours you're within, how many different countries, so it's quite good to sort of adventure and go and see some stuff. But at the same time, like for us, like New Zealand's and even Australia, like there's some pretty cool places that like for us, Andorra and Queenstown in New Zealand are very similar, like, mountain biking in the summer, snow skiing and stuff like that in the winter. So it's quite cool to go to those sort of similar places, and it almost feels a little homely to a certain extent. But it's quite neat to tour your own country, which a lot of people don't do.
I was just going to say that, like I think even in the UK, like we don't do that. And there's I know it's a small island, right, in comparison, but actually touring where you live is there's something to be said for
Yeah,
that.
you
isn't
probably
there?
do the same as us. You drive to the racetrack and you spend the weekend in a completely different district at a racetrack, and then you go home again. You don't actually.
Do you do that? So like whenever we go anywhere, if like I'm going anywhere with my missus or anything, we go, it's like, where's this? Or if you're looking to buy a car or whatever, you're like, oh, that's Donington. It's like actually not Donington, but it's the closest racetrack.
All your geography is based on racetracks.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But I'm really desperate to like ask about your season and ask about all the riding you've been doing. But I'd love to just go back right to the very start of your motorcycle racing journey, just to find out sort of like where did it all start for you and with motorbikes?
With motorbikes, I grew up with it. Dad's, what's he been road racing? This would be his 40th season this year.
Wow.
His family, no one, I think maybe his grandfather did in the war, rode a motorcycle. And then maybe that was something that sort of sparked his like interest in motorcycles. My grandfather, or Dad's dad wasn't really, into motorbikes, anything like that. Dad ended up building his own first one. So that's kind of where the motorcycling started within our family. And then for me, it was just got dragged into it,
Do you have the mini bike scene over there?
Nah, so we've only just had that start, like
Right.
within the last sort of 3 or 4 years.
Really? That recent?
Yeah.
So it's motocross, schoolboy motocross.
Yeah.
And
So motocross
flat
is
tracking.
so much
The more
bigger
sort
than
of traditional
Yeah.
routes.
motocross is where you start, and then road racing doesn't sort of start till you. It used to be, I think there was like maybe like an insurance thing. It was like 14 or 15. I think you couldn't go road racing till you were sort of that age.
Okay.
Which I ended up actually doing, but that was a long
Yeah.
long time ago. But yeah, I guess for me, like it was motocross that was the start of it. PW50s, LT50, into your KX60s and YZ85s and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
when did you first get to do road racing then? What age would you have been?
I was 15, I think. You must 14, 15, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Was it always obviously I know that your dad's got such a pedigree in the sport, but was it always like a mindset that I'm doing motocross and I'm riding because this is all I can ride and then I'm going to go road racing? Or was it just like...
I just was riding bikes.
You didn't really care where it went?
No, I just sort of was riding bikes, and it wasn't probably till I was sort of 15 when I started getting good at motocross that I was like, right, I want to
have a look at this.
I want to like be a supercross racer, that sort of thing. Watching Ben Townley, Josh Coppins, your Kiwi guys over there doing the business, that you're like, oh, that's, you're seeing that. Whereas I was probably a little bit late for the likes of like Aaron Slight and like a lot of good Kiwi road races. Like I didn't really see it, so I wasn't maybe interested in it because I was more interested in motocross and Ben Townley and Josh Coppins and so for me it was motocross. I was never going road racing.
I always feel like such an imposter when we're talking about motocross, right? Because I fucking didn't have anything to do with motocross as a kid, and I still couldn't tell you other than it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done on two wheels. And every motocross rider at a good level deserves every penny they get paid. But I always feel like such a dickhead when we're talking about, because I'm like, know who that is. Yeah. There's Christian was here, he'd be like dribbling all over the table right now. Yeah. But
it's one of those, I guess it's just what you grow up with, isn't it? So,
that's it, yeah.
Yeah, for me, like we're a motocross family, and I think I won my only ever motocross championship on a little 60 when I was like 10.
Oh, class.
And then sort of I was quite small at the time, and then I got moved to an 80 or 85 at the time, but only because of your age. But I was still like real small on it. Even like on a small wheel, I was still small on a small wheel. So I took quite a few years till I was like 14 till I started coming any good at it. And then, I think I got second in a few things, and second in 2016 New Zealand Championship, then ended up riding the World Junior Motocross Championship, which actually it came to New Zealand. It's only like a 1 round thing. And I think it was the last year it was 4 strokes, but I had like a massive crash, and I still ended up riding the weekend, but I was riding injured, and we had a whole training scheme, and it was like, we're doing all the right things, but I was riding off natural talent rather than doing the work.
Yeah.
Just a bit of that.
Yeah, literally that's kind of been half my career. It's just been natural talent, you know, like maybe understanding it. I feel like some guys, you just understand how to ride a bike well, and you can ride the bike in different ways that saves energy, that you don't have to train as hard, and maybe there's something inside you that you kind of, you know, you can pull something out when you need it. Rather than putting the work in, which you've got to do with the motocross, especially, you know, and you have the ability to go and riding 2-3 times a week is something that happens, which it just doesn't happen on a road bike, does it?
Yeah. It's funny that, I really love that sort of saying about there's people who are naturally talented and then there's people who have to work for it. Because that makes it sound like anybody could just, with the right work ethic, could be a top level motorcycle racer, but that's actually not the case, is it? So there's a level of talent in all of it, but some people just, for some reason, can just do it and maybe don't even understand why.
Yeah.
And other people really have to like work hard at it.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
33 now, I think. Yeah.
So I think there's like a tipping point when you get to your 30s where you really realise, I wish I'd done this differently when I was in my late teens. But I think you have to get to the 30 miles
to realise.
Yeah, unfortunately, you've got to stuff some things up and not do the job properly.
Your mid-20s, you're still making a load of cock-ups. Late 20s, you're starting to go, that wasn't maybe the most sensible. And then I think when you get to the 30 mark, you go, fuck, I wish I could have told myself at 18 to knuckle down, or the importance of just take.
But it's like buying a house or anything like that. You know, you can go, I should have been saving 10 years ago and coulda, woulda, shoulda. You can always say that.
Are you supposed to save, are you?
Do you think it would have changed anything for your motocross, though? If you had?
Yeah, for sure. I would have. I mean, I thought I was doing the right things, like I was cycling, mountain biking, stuff like that, but probably just didn't understand, maybe didn't. Not that I didn't have the right guidance, like my dad guided me really well and stuff like that, maybe didn't accept his guidance well enough. And just not knowing. You know, a lot of that, I guess, is not knowing, not having social media like you have today, that you can learn so much so easily by just watching, you know. Because I just did it off riding, and like I did a lot of motocross riding as a kid. Like we had motocross school, basically, you know, like my high school that I went to, we had like 1,400 students or something. We had like 40 to 50 kids in the motocross team. Wow. And we'd go riding every Thursday afternoon.
That's mad.
So
like,
cool of that, man.
Isn't that cool?
Unreal. Like they don't do it the same now. They do it, but it might be like once a month. Right. And I'm like, I got so good because of having the ability to go.
It was accessible to you.
Yeah. I could go dirt bike riding every Thursday afternoon, and then.
Is that during the school? So from you
1
finish at lunchtime and then
like 1 o'clock you'd like
go.
Could
you imagine that? Yeah. Actually, just want to quickly interrupt this episode to welcome our new sponsor, WSC Performance, who are an online-based performance website for motorcycles. So they do everything from sort of Brembo and SBS. They're also a stockist of EvoTech and a load of other premium parts. They're very involved in racing as well. So they've been long-term sponsors of Declan Connolly, who races in the National Superstock 1000 Championship. And they also are heavily involved in sponsoring and running a rider in the F900 series, which is obviously very close to our heart. So we're absolutely delighted to have the WSC family on board. We'll put the website in the in obviously the description of all of our videos. Another huge incentive to become one of our patrons is they're going to be offering giveaways and discounts and things to Patreon members. So if you're not already a Patreon member, get signed up to get access to the giveaways. And also, if you're in the market for anything new for your motorcycle, replacement, performance, upgrade, whatever it might be, go and check out the website, WSC Performance, and they'll look after you. Do you know something?
No, they charge you for it. They say you have to pay 20 quid to charity. And then
there's a valid point, right? So if you look at, not to get off topic, but if you look at all of this, like, sort of bike life stuff you see on social media in the UK, like London, all of these kids wheeling Cirons and motocross bikes around, like, that is talent.
Yeah.
That is not easy. That is not easy to do.
Taking practice to do that stuff. Like, yeah.
Could you imagine if that was just channeled into something like that? If that facility was available, like how?
Yeah.
Anyway. Never mind. We'll not get onto the politics of this country.
I nearly went down the rabbit hole. But I'm not going to, because, yeah.
So when you started, so had a bit of success motocross riding,
Yeah.
it was like enjoying what you're doing, feeling like you're doing all the right stuff. What is I really don't know the road racing scene at all. So what was the road racing scene at that time for you, and what was the sort of entry point?
It wasn't really like, as a kid, we're at the road racing all the time. Dad was racing. We were there watching. I'm riding around on my little push scooter and cleaning out all the guys' ankles and all sorts of stuff, you know. And like we did that for a long time till I think about 2005. Dad retired. He won his last championship. I think he was on a Yamaha at the time. Won the championship and then retired because we were kind of being annoying and wanted to go dirt bike riding. So he then channeled all his energy into sort of like focusing on the motorcycle club and like really brought that back to life. And then so he sort of did that for a while. And then it was, I think he still had some opportunities. Yamaha had riders at the time that sort of like when one would get injured, they'd give him a call and he'd come back and he'd ride. So he had a few of those where he'd sort of, you know, just have like fill-in rides. And then 2012 with the business, so we owned a motorcycle shop at home, which originally was unbranded, then took on Yamaha. I think it was Yamaha for about 12 years. And then in 2012, Honda had come along. It was the third time they'd come knocking on the door and they wanted us to be the sole manufacturer, like selling Honda branded product in our town. And it was basically a too good offer that he couldn't turn up. So he was like, yeah, sweet, and like locked into it. I was anti that, like I was a big Yamaha guy, like I bled blue. I was all about it. I wanted to, you know, like I was not in it. Me and my brother, we were not in on it, you know, like we were so against it. But I mean, hey, for us, for our business, we sell ATVs and side by sides and like majority farm. Like our business is 70% farm orientated.
Yeah.
The rest would be motocross and then road. So that sort of reignited him going road racing again. And then he sort of did that, rode for the Honda team. That was sort of, I think, what he wanted as part of being the Honda dealer. He wanted to do some road racing again. And it sort of reignited the sort of road racing side of thing for him. And then Damo got into it, my brother. And I think it must have been 2014. Somewhere around there anyway, he ended up mechanicking for Dad and sort of giving him a hand and stuff. And then, that was the sort of the following year, 2015, they wanted me to come and do the 6-hour endurance race with them on a road bike. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, sweet, sounds good. Well, straight from a Series 450 to a CBR 1000. So, like, I'd gone
possibly go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I went and did some track days and sort of did a little bit of learning, I guess. I didn't know nothing. Like this was, I think, pre-downshift blip and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think you had quick shifters, but there was no downshift blip, nothing like that. So I'm just banging down gears. I didn't know nothing about it. I did that for like a couple of years of my road racing career till I sort of like Dad was like, oh, you're not blipping. And I'm like, huh? What?
This thing here.
Yeah, what are you using the clutch on? What are you talking about? You don't do that in motocross. So, and then, 2015 was like the proper start of me road racing as such. I had one go in about 2008, I think, on a TZ105. Went pretty good, actually. Beat one, well, didn't at the time the guy was a New Zealand champion, but ended up doing a test with like a few guys and ex-racer won a bunch of championships, rode his bike, I think twice. First time was in the dry, second time was in the wet. It was going real good on the wet and then high-sided on like a river on the track. It was that wet. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, that's sort of, I wouldn't say soured the taste a little bit, but maybe.
It humbled you.
Yeah, for sure. But it was also at the same time when I was getting good at motocross. So it was like, Dad was like, oh, if you get top 10 at the Junior Motocross Nationals, I'll buy you a 125 and we'll do some road racing. I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. Like, it was like it's a deal. And then I literally got 10th at the Junior Motocross Nationals. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'll look at buying your bike. And I was like, no, like I want to focus on the motocross. So then that took me back to motocross, and I was like, the road racing had like
sit by the way a bit.
There was no jumps. It was pushed aside. Like, we weren't worried about jumps. Well, I don't know. There's this thing called Old Man TT. So then, back to 2015 was the road racing sort of had started. Just did that sort of few track days. Did the 6-hour endurance with my brother and my dad. which like was probably one of the hardest races I'd done. Like 40 to 50 minutes on a Fireblade, around a minute, just over a minute lap, minute 10 I think it was, and it's like a lot of right-handers. I struggled a lot. Like it was tough, no downshift blipping. Like I was struggling to do the stints, and they were like, oh, I did as much as I could, and then that was sort of it. You know, I did that, and that was like November, I think, the endurance race.
And what were they saying to you? Were they saying like, oh, you've got a bit of something, or
no? They were just, I mean, I was a good motocrosser, so I was going all right, you know, and 1,000 I wasn't too worried about, and like I was more worried about high siding, so I was gentle on the throttle and was kind of just, you know, respecting the bike a bit, and and then did the endurance race in November, and that was sort of it. I think I might have done one other track day after that, and then I sort of did nothing, and then I think it must have been like December of 2015 as well. I ended up messaging my partner on Instagram. My brother actually set it up. I was like, oh, is there any hot chicks at road racing? He goes, oh, there's a couple of chicks, Avalon Biddle, now Avalon Lewis, good friends of ours. She won like a women's, she rode the Women's World Cup last year.
Yeah.
And then she won one of the World Championship racing women's ones, I think, quite a few years back. So there was the two choices, I think, in road racing. And then I was like, hi, followed the Mihi on Instagram, and then ended up messaging her, and that was sort of that really. And then that sort of, I wouldn't say piqued my interest in road racing, but kind of drew me that way a little bit. And I'd sort of stepped back from the motocross by this stage. I'd been to America, I think, in 2013, broke my leg real bad, and that sort of was like 18 months out. Like I snapped my tib fib, had a metal rod put in, and kind of just took a long time to sort of get back to there. So then for me, I was kind of like, I'll just do the motocross for fun now. So I kind of wasn't, I was still doing a little bit of racing, but I wasn't taking it as serious. And then, did the road racing, and then, sort of met Mihi. And then I think I went and watched one of the rounds, must have been like mid-December, when I met Mihi, and then Damo was racing as well, and kind of just,
Damo's still racing in New Zealand.
In New Zealand, yes. That was end of 2015. And then, he's like, oh, I need a mechanic for the national championship. So this was the Suzuki Series, which is the one that a lot of the international Davey and Pete and Michael's been over to, and a whole bunch of the other boys have been.
This is not the road race. This is
this is the one with the street race, the symmetry circuit.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that sorry?
So there's the 2 rounds of Suzuki Series, and then they're a circuit race, and then the third one is a street race, which is only 50 odd seconds roughly. Yeah. So there's the Suzuki Series, and then you have the national championship, which is in usually from like January through to March.
Right. Okay.
So they're kind of 2 separate series.
So how many circuits are there in New Zealand?
There's 3 in the north, 3 in the south, and there's a 4th one in the north being built. They just broke ground like today, I think. So, which would be good. It's only about an hour from home. So
what sort of tracks are they? Because where I was in Melbourne, we'd obviously got Phillip Island.
Yeah.
But then
there's nothing that compares to that. So
no, but then they had like Broadford or I can't think what the other one was called. That was close to
there. In terms of
Wakefield? Wakefield? Is it Wakefield Park? Morgan Park? No, Wakefield. It's been 2 hours, something like that, I think.
North.
Yeah, like north inland.
Yeah. But they're.
I think
I'd almost call.
I could be wrong.
Like,
Aussies will rate me out on Facebook if that's the case.
They'll be annoyed at me because I can't think of the name.
But I think there's like Broadford, and then because I raced.
I'm gonna have to find it. I'll find it. We talk amongst ourselves while I find
it. So the level of the circuit then, if you compared it to a BSB track, like which of the BSB tracks would you say they're most like?
So my local's probably Taupo, which is about 2-ish hours from home. That's probably very similar to Snetterton, quite flat. Quite flat turns.
Like as wide with a bit of runoff and stuff, or the little bit more?
Yeah, probably. Okay.
Because I've really enjoyed some of the videos. I remember, I think the last one that I've watched, obviously Davey does quite a lot of vlogs, doesn't he? And I watched his one when he like races supermoto in one session, and then he's out on a stocker in the next one. And
so he's Taupo then Manfield. So Manfield's quite short. It's only like just over a minute. Don't know what I'd liken it to. Our circuits are real flat, like not a lot of undulation. There's only one, and it's got a few little hills, but it's not really.
Yeah.
No Donington or.
The one I was
Yeah.
thinking I was Winton. In
Oh
Melbourne.
yeah, so that's.
But that's flat as well. They're almost
Yeah.
like really big go-kart tracks.
Right, I got you.
They're nothing on the scale of. So in New Zealand, have you got anything on the scale of like a Donington?
Well, I'd say Taupo is probably size-wise, like the width of the circuit and like the length is about very similar.
Yeah.
But just don't have the undulation.
Right.
The surface has deteriorated a lot in the last few years at Taupo. Like it's got worse and worse. Just that they are slowly resealing parts of the circuit, but yeah, it is for sure. And Hampton Downs is like international level stuff. Like it's real good.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
facilities are like real, like unreal.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome. So
Hampton Downs is like world class facilities there. Taupo's is really pretty good, to be fair, as well. Probably similar to Donington to a certain extent, I would
okay.
say.
Yeah.
So in terms of the scene, then, obviously we see the videos of like guys from over here going across for the what we would call the winter.
Yeah.
Is that your winter? No, that's
Our
your
summer, yeah.
Your
Upside
summer.
down, yeah.
Yeah.
Upside down.
Where
So-
upside down.
So is there when we're racing here, there's no racing on at home for you guys? It's not like because that's your winter.
Nah, so there's a little bit of stuff like club series type stuff.
Oh, okay.
So they have like some stuff during the winter. I think they had one on last weekend. But yes, it's probably still all right at the moment. But once you sort of start getting into like May, it starts getting quite cold. Like
Okay.
you don't really want to go
You
to the
don't.
track. It's like riding at Donington on the weekend. It's a bit cool and you're just a little nervous.
Not worth it. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, October, November on a British racetrack's not.
Yeah, which is probably similar for us. So even April, May can be cool, especially Taupo is quite high in elevation compared to like where I live.
Right.
Where I live at the moment, like it's hard to leave home at the moment. Like I don't really want to.
It's still nice.
It's nice. Yeah, it's pretty good till sort of mid-May really at home.
Oh, okay. And so you've sort of ventured into road racing by this point because of a woman, by the sounds of it, which is not a bad reason. I'm sure many more people have done the same. But your brother, I'm trying to think of the time when your brother came to BSB.
2020, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And at that point, were you sort of full-time racing in New Zealand?
I might as well just do the sort of timeline, I guess. So into 2015, I think it was. Sorry, I got to. Yeah, into 2015. Yeah, I'd sort of went and watched him, and then ended up mechanicking for him early 2016 for the national championship. And then the last round of the national championship, Dad's like, "Oh, do you want to ride the spare superbike at the last round of the nationals?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" And so that was that, and ended up racing that. I ended up actually selling the vehicle I had, brought that Fireblade off him, which actually he had given to Damo for his 21st present. So then I brought a bike. I didn't actually have any wheels now, so fortunately she ended up within like 2 or 3 months we'd moved in together. Well, moved into mum and dad's together.
Yeah.
And so we had a vehicle, and then I worked at the business at the time. I still do, obviously, but so we just go all in the same vehicle to work. So that was ideal, and that was sort of the start of my road racing, like properly going road racing. I bought the bike, went and did some club days in the wintertime, had some crashes, and as you do in the cold. And then into 2016 was my first proper series that, done the club series, and then gone into going full national sort of style road racing.
Always on 1000cc.
Straight on 1,000, yeah. Basically, so Dad gave Damo the 1,000 for his 21st present. That's what he did with me with a motocross bike. So I got my Series 450 as my 21st. That's the last bike I'm buying you. Here it is.
Like, you're done.
So he did the same with
You're a
Damo.
man now.
Gave him a Fireblade.
And it was on there.
Gave him a Fireblade and went like, "There's your last bike I'm buying you. I'm not buying you any more motorbikes." And then we went. And then so Damo had the decision either stay 600 and win the championship or jump on a superbike. He was kind of at that tipping point. And Damo was like, "No, I want to win this championship." So he stayed 600. So that meant 1,000 was there. So I brought the 1,000, and that was it. Straight on a superbike. And I mean, hey, they were only 170 odd horsepower at the time.
Yeah, they've moved on.
Which was actually and
It's still
and
a
that
lot,
fight
though,
that
if you haven't.
it was an 08 Fireblade, like probably one of the best chassis for someone,
Yeah.
you know, like so easy to ride. Power wasn't too aggressive unless you got high lift cams or aggressive cams in it or something like that. So for me, it was like a stocker, rode it, enjoyed it, you know, lost the front a lot. And then, sort of 2016, did the Suzuki Series, was my first street race. I think I did that at the Burt Munro, which was in like November, which was like just like a little round the block. And then went to Wanganui Street Race, which was part of the Suzuki Series, and then went into my first national series. So I think I crashed at every round pretty much, lost the front, except for maybe the street races. So that was probably a good start. You know, just
how many street races? Sorry to interrupt you. How many street races are there?
There's currently 2, and then there's a there's a couple of hill climbs as well.
Right. I've seen the hill climbs,
I think hill climbs look awesome. I don't know why, they just look really good.
The one that I did, which you might have seen on my socials, which did just before I came over, the Burt hill climb, fortunately it was like one of the best days I've ever had there, except for the tarmac started melting because it was like real hot. So that was quite cool, but it's quite short. It's like 43 seconds now. I just took the hill climb record off my old man, so haha. So there's a couple of hill climbs, and then there's currently 2 street races. There's a third one meant to be coming back in January next year, and there's even talks of another one coming back as well. So we might even have 4 street races again.
So is that the cemetery
circuit? Yeah. And then there's the Greymouth street race. They're talking about Nelson, which is another street race, and then another one which runs at the Burt Munro Challenge as well. So for anyone that's seen the Burt Munro movie,
World's Fastest
it's kind of
And these will be like similar length.
Yeah, they're all quite short. Nothing. Even like second, third year most of the time.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
So that was 2016.
Yeah, into 16, and then into 17 was my first national championship. Ended up 6th there, which was not too bad. And then moving into 2017, had the new gen Fireblade, which was, I think they did for like 2-3 years, 17 to 19 Fireblade. So we rode that for a few years. I think I got second in the championship. Damo actually was moved up to Superbike, but he was racing in Australia at the time as well. Ended up breaking his ankle. I ended up filling in for him in 2 rounds in Australia. So rode at Sydney Motorsport Park, which is Eastern Creek, and then rode at Phillip Island, which was pretty special. Did you ride at Phillip Island? Yeah, unreal. If anyone can, and
go do it.
Phillip Island's like one of those places you'd want to just tick off the list. You know, like it's just awesome. It's just something else on a good day. On a wet day.
On a wet day.
Windy day, it's not the nicest.
It's like being stood in a cliff in Anglesey, isn't it? But
so that was sort of that was my only sort of 2 rides on a 600. Like that's the only time I've ever raced 600 was twice in Australia, and then it was back for Suzuki Series and then the Nationals again. Ended up second in the championship that year. Damo still had his broken ankle. Dad ended up falling off, got his hand run over, broke his thumb at the Suzuki Series, so he didn't end up doing the Nationals. So I was kind of like the lone wolf on the Honda.
Head of the family at this point, bro.
I was number 1 family member. And then we actually got a friend of ours. He was racing the year previous. He owns a Honda motorcycle dealership, Jeremy Holmes. He was like a fill-in rider. He rode, so there was still 2 of us on the team. So that was kind of cool, you know. There was sort of no pressure, but the results went well. I think I had 1 crash that year, so that was like a real good step. Just getting that feeling, you know, like come from motocross where you kind of lose the front. It's not a big deal where you crash a road bike and there's a little bit of work to do. You know, you might break a lever on a dirt bike, but the old Fireblade might go down the track.
The grass
so
disintegrate themselves.
So then when your brother came over to do BSBs and stuff, was that like on your radar at all? Were you thinking, I might get off and do a bit of that? Or
nah, so I mean, he was doing Australia, so then the following year, 2018, I did Australia as well. 2018? Yeah, it was 2018. I did Australia as well. And then 2019, beginning of 19, I got hurt, and then we did Australia. He did Australia, and then he actually came over, watched the TT in, I think it might have been in 19. And he was still racing in Aussie then. I think he got 3rd in the championship on a 600 that year in Australia.
Did he go to watch it because he wanted to go watch it, or did he go watch it because he was thinking of going?
Well, him and Shane Richardson they were like real close. They battled for the championship on the 600 in 2017. They like went down to the last race. Shane should have won it, but Shane crashed in the last race and kind of just it is what it is, you know. Like make a mistake, and they were that close in points. So they got on really well, you know, for like the fiercest competitors, like you're battling for the championship. They just were like best mates and got on really well. So Shane was doing all America and then went to come over and did, I think he must have raced in 19 and did a few rounds of the British Championship.
I was just going to say
he did the whole Stock 600 Championship, I think, maybe that year.
I remember him in Stock 600 because I remember he rode for Astro, didn't he? I think.
Yeah.
It is Astro, isn't it?
Yeah.
James Jackson.
Yeah, so I think he made it in a couple of rounds in 18, and then 19, I think Shane moved and did like the full series of stock.
Yeah.
And then it was like the last race, and I think he had a fuel pump issue, something like that in 19.
But he had some result, like he just popped up out of nowhere. I remember
Yeah, like
just
I think
being like,
rode Alton and like drilled everyone.
Yeah.
Like just out of nowhere, and it was like, what the? Like I think everyone was like, who's this dude?
Yeah.
Because like unfortunately we can't watch it on TV at home, which sucks. So like we just see like social media stuff. You know,
I didn't realise that. That is a shame, that, isn't it?
Yeah. And then Shane was obviously over here, but Damo had the connection with Carl Cox and a whole bunch of the guys. A guy called Jay Lawrence, he came over and he was riding for Bill Bay Suzuki at the TT as a newcomer that year. I think something happened, something fell through, and I don't know if maybe one of the riders wasn't doing it or something happened. So Jay ended up, I don't know. I don't really know the full story how it happened, but Jay was doing the TT in 19. Damo actually came over and had the Carl Cox connection. They were all here. There was a whole bunch of Kiwis over. Damo stayed with them, and
that sounds like a hangover.
And ended up watching TT and sort of having a trip like that. So that was kind of cool. That was his sort of first trip over this side of the world, and then I don't know whether he wasn't keen to go back and do, because he'd done 2019 on a super bike in Aussie, and then 2020, I think just him and Shane were talking and got along real well, and maybe he wanted. I actually never really got to speak to him about it, to be honest with you, which is a shame. But he ended up coming over and doing the British Championship. Shane sort of teed that up with Astro, and him and Shane were the two guys. I think it was on BMs. Was the first year of the BM was like real
strong.
Real strong. That. So they ended up sort of debuting on the BMW for Astro that year. Damo did real well actually. He ended up, I think it was like tied for points and was like went 3-2 I think at the first round at Donington. That was the first year of COVID. So he was kind of the guy that had come straight from like racing in New Zealand, finished racing, and then like came straight here. So he was like race ready, you know. So turned up and was like on it straight away.
Oh, of course, yeah, because you've just finished your season.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's still like a bit of downtime, but you'd still had that riding. Whereas you know, a lot of the guys from the UK had. It wasn't probably as much Spain riding was happening back then.
No, especially because of COVID, I guess. But
and then COVID had happened. So then like Damo had like the whole summer, and he had a whole Australian series before that. So he'd like had this massive lead up, and then came straight over and was like same thing as Shane, was like firing straight away.
Yeah, up to speed, like ready to go.
Yeah, and then obviously the BM, no one really knew anything about it, and I think there might have been still the old Fireblade at the time. The new one might have come in partway through that year. So it's sort of, he started off real well. Obviously Donington, I think it was the short circuit at Donington.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but it was just a bit of a weird year, but he did real well. I think did okay. I think he might have ended up 6th in the championship maybe that year. I can't remember, to be fair. So
they were at the front, I remember. I remember. I don't know the results.
I think he crashed at the last, I think Donington came back. Might have been like the last round. And it was the full circuit then, and I think he crashed down into Melbourne.
Right, okay.
Just come down into the air and the engine braking or something. High-sided broke his collarbone, so
wonderful.
As you do. So unfortunately that was sort of a short stop to that. But obviously it was a good first year for him in the British.
Yeah.
How did you start thinking about coming over then?
Didn't. Still wasn't on the radar. I had got injured in 2019 at the beginning of the year. Broke my tib fib, same tib fib that I broke on a motocross bike earlier, like in 2013. So And I went 7 months, and then they'd put like a metal plate on there to fix it, and that didn't work. So like I had 7 months of like not walking, struggling to walk, and then like basically reset again, and they ended up putting the metal rod in again. And then I think might have got on a bike for like March, had like a ride before like at the last round of the national championship. I just didn't even race. I just
2020 or 2019?
2020.
2020.
Yeah, so I'd had like almost over 12 months of like no competitive like riding.
Yeah.
Did like that, I think one like day on track. I didn't even race the series, but I like did a day on track. Rode all right, but it was just good to get out and have a ride, and that was it really. And then I sort of had that whole sort of next thing off. Then COVID obviously happened, and it's sort of, messed everything up. And like I wasn't at a level that I was looking at international stuff. I rode 2018 in Australia, and I wasn't ready. It was only my second year road racing, and I wasn't really ready to go. It was good because it sort of brought my level up of my racing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to do it. I didn't feel like I was ready to do it. And then 2019, I was wasn't really looking forward to it. It had been like, it was getting expensive and everything else, but I wasn't really looking forward to going back again. And then I got hurt, and then it was, I'm not doing it anyway. But whether it was a blessing in disguise or not, I don't really know. But I mean, you never want to get hurt. But at the same time, it was a little bit of like a stop, reset. Do I really want to do it? Yeah, it did. The sort of hunger came for it. I was still doing a little bit of motocross, but yeah, the road racing was definitely the focus after that. And
so was it, did you have any sort of like sights on the Isle of Man?
Nope.
Or road racing? Did that come out of your friendship with Davey then?
Yeah.
Or did you meet Davey as a result of the TT?
No, I actually met Davey as a result of him coming to New Zealand. So
that's how I thought that.
Yeah, so the
down,
guy
yeah.
Flea, Alan Willisey, that runs the Suzuki series, does like unreal job. He's like so good to work with, just real helpful. Obviously brings those guys over, Davey, Pete, Michael, who else? Lee Johnston, Connor, whole bunch of guys that have been over. Because it's so expensive for us to get over here, Flea's been real good at like working with getting guys over to New Zealand. So, and usually there's been like a bike to ride. Suzuki's New Zealand usually supplied a bike. I think Coops rode for them.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
2019. Coops came over. Hickey came over in 18. He had a BM supplied through the guy that runs Carl Cox's stuff called Steve in New Zealand. So it was like a whole sort of, we'd always had those guys coming over. So we knew about TT, stuff like that. And I'm like, it'd be, cool to do, but it was never like, it's unachievable. In our mind, from New Zealand, it's unachievable unless you're the guy, really, If you're winning New Zealand championships, then maybe there's like something to go internationally.
Yeah.
I always figure if you're not winning in New Zealand or in your country, you're not breaking lap records, you're not the guy, there's almost no point in going somewhere else. Like, till you're that good and dominating in your country, like, you're not ready to go somewhere else. And I didn't feel like that either. So for me, I'm like, I'd like to go back to Australia and ride again, like that was kind of cool. It's quite easy. It's just, it's not easy, but
it's
like, right there, it's not that far. There's some cool tracks to ride, but to come to the UK, stuff like that. Damo was good. Shane was good. Like, two of the best ever to come out of New Zealand, and then Cormac Buchanan, obviously in Moto3. So like those guys.
Loves a high side, that kid, doesn't he?
Yeah, I actually caught up with him last week. Yeah, last Monday we caught up in Spain actually, after he'd been in Coda, and just he's nothing he's doing wrong, he's doing everything right, and it's just one of those things. You just getting caught out on little things.
So, been some cool reels, I know that. First he had one in Quarter and one in
Brazil. Yeah,
the one in Brazil. Jesus, that was such a big high side. I've not seen like one of them for a long time.
Yeah, and like,
I felt for a minute
for a Moto3 bike, like big, and he's like it's just real unfortunate because he was actually going really well at Brazil, even Argentina. Not Argentina, at Sepang. No, not Sepang. Well, it was first at Thailand. At the first round, he was going really well there. So he's made a step from last year.
Yeah, sure.
He was riding better. He was like top 5 in the dry at Coda in the first session, which
It's brilliant.
Watching, like, he's made a good step from last year, where he was like around that sort of 15th mark. So he's finding his feet there, but obviously, you know, with that comes you're taking more risk, and just got caught out with the one at Coda with the high side. The one in Brazil was a little bit tough because obviously the circuit was falling apart and there was a lot of crashes from that. He crashed in, I think, FP2 he said as well, and there was gravel on the track, and he's like, comes around the corner and there's just gravel everywhere and just tucks the front. And then like a couple other guys do the same, and he's like,
what we're doing?
Why was there no flag out, you know? But for him, it's really good because he's on that sort of trajectory and looking like he's hitting, you know, I would like to see him like continually sort of around that top 10 mark. I think he's capable of that. He is a little bit of a taller kid, so he would suit a Moto2 bike a lot better, but it's a lot of extra cost as well. And
yeah, sure.
Yeah, Moto3 is a massive cost. So.
But if he can prove himself, right, like we've seen it happen. It's obviously good to have.
Yeah, if he if he wasn't having to pay for a Moto3 ride, you know, like,
Dorna like to keep that all mixed up though, don't they? So there's nothing to say if he doesn't keep the progression. They aren't gonna try and
especially
he's still young. He's like real young as well, you know. So
especially with the new circuit being built, as you were saying there, like maybe if it's at a level, like you never know, you might see a Grand Prix there at some point.
Nah, you won't.
Oh, really?
Nah.
Never?
No, that's too much money. New Zealand doesn't have the infrastructure, the money. The New Zealand government's never going to pay for that, which is a shame because I'd really love to see that. But
you don't think it'll ever be?
No,
fair enough.
It's one of those things. It's as much as I'd love it to, I just don't see it happening, you know. So, which is a real shame.
Yeah, that is a shame.
It'd be cool if Dorna or something like that, you coulda, woulda, shouldas, but it'd be cool if they had some sort of thing where, you know, they are in Australia and they're like, oh, we want some wild cards, but you know, we're not riding Moto3 bikes in New Zealand, you know.
No,
so
I was going to say
it's irrelevant anyway.
The scene seems very different, and
it's very production based.
Yeah,
a lot of what we have is, you know, we have a R15, which is basically the 150 class, and then you have a 300, and then we've got Sport Spike class and Super Sport 600, which is developing in whatever way it is.
Yeah.
But it seems different everywhere in the world, and then you've got Superbike class. So.
Yeah,
but that then lends itself for a pathway into World Superbike rather than Grand Prix.
Yeah, which I mean is its own thing, which is
yeah. Let's not get into those politics.
Yeah. It's all money driven at the end of the day, and unless you've got money, it's not happening, really, is it?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. I mean, we talk about this often on the show, don't we? But yeah, fair enough. So obviously, it's great that there's a network to get riders into, based on everything you've just said as well, right? Like, it's great that there's a network to get international riders into New Zealand for these cool events and stuff. Like, I've never been, but absolutely love following them. Like, there seems to be it's like a bit of a cool scene, a lot going on.
It's
like
relaxed. Like, the Suzuki series is so relaxed. Like, you just rock up and, you know, you just go and have a ride and, you know, like, just go and do things during the week, and the boys usually go and they'll go luging and do sorts of stuff between rounds. And so for anyone coming over, is it Eric Wilson and Dave Hewson? They came over for last year.
The Obsession Engineering
guys. Which is really cool because obviously they've logged it all and everything like that, but it's quite good because they've now got those guys that if anyone does want to come over and do the series, like, definitely get in contact with us, and even myself, send me a message if you're actually serious. There's a container going. My sponsor, Mondial Freight's actually putting that on to send bikes over.
Oh, really?
Did the same last year. So there was, obviously, Dave brought that sort of crew over and stuff. So there is more coming over this year. And I know it's the 75th anniversary this year of Cemetery Circuit. So they're trying to get a whole bunch of stuff happening and a whole bunch of, you know, good top guys. Hopefully Davey and Pete would be cool again. It's always good to have them. It'd be good to have Michael. It'd be awesome to have John. I'd love to have John come over.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But we'll see what happens. So.
Oh, class! That's really cool.
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm super keen to get onto the TT. Actually, if it's okay with you, I'd like to just touch on your brother a little bit as well. Obviously, it's obviously not a nice thing to talk about, but also a very important thing, I guess, to talk about. And maybe just tell us a little bit about that situation. Obviously, you guys at home, obviously hearing about it. And
well, for me, I was actually over here on an OE. So,
oh God,
yeah, I was road racing. I'd had the injury, and then Mum and Dad had come over in 22, I think, and watched for like 3 months and spent a whole bunch of time with them. And then for 23, me and my wife and actually my mechanic, we ended up coming over and we were doing a bit of OE. We were actually like focusing on 2024. We were going to buy into the motorcycle shop, and that was sort of, I wasn't going to be going racing and anything like that.
Yeah, right.
So focus was that. So I was like, oh, before we do that, before we have kids, do all that stuff, come over, watch Damo, and have a bit of OE, go and see a bit of Europe and things like that. So we flew over, went to Abu Dhabi, then went to Knock Hill, and he didn't know we were coming. So
From Abu
so we went to Abu Dhabi for a couple of days. For a bit of a holiday. Went to Knock Hill. and then went to Knock Hill, spent a couple of days there, and then turned up to Knock Hill, watched FP1, and then walked up to, he was riding for Binch at the time, so walked up to the Binch setup, and like literally was walked in there. I think I shared it the other day for his birthday on my profile. Like walked into the awning and like stood there, just like in his peripheral vision. So I was like that annoying weird guy, and then he's like just like does a double take, and he's like, "What the fuck? What are you doing here?" Because he knew we were coming over, but not that early. Like I was saying, we were going to be there like the following week or whatever. So that was really cool to like turn up and like surprise him and be there and spend the time at Knock Hill for them, which actually turned out to be his last race that he ended up doing. So, and then basically from Knock Hill, I think we had a couple of days with him, which was nice. And then we flew out to Croatia, actually. Ended up getting engaged in Croatia. Just a bit of a surprise thing. He didn't even know I was doing that. And then we literally seen a picture of the ring, was like, I want to be my best man. And he's like, you didn't even tell me anything about this. Within the sort of next week, he ended up getting sick. They said it was from food poisoning. He was vomiting for like 2 days, went to hospital and like started vomiting blood and a whole bunch of stuff, and it just sort of escalated, and he was in ICU, and sort of I think while he was in ICU, might have been there a couple of days, and then I was like, for whatever reason, I was like, being big brother, I like broke down, and like as soon as I heard he was in hospital, I like wanted to like get there and be there, like, and his wife was like, oh no, look, he's all right. They got on top of it, and like I think they might have removed his colon at the time, and they're like, oh no, he's coming good. And I was like, it's like sick, like I was crying, like I was like, just like ruins his racing, like I was so invested in him and his racing, and like I didn't care about myself, like I just did it because I enjoy riding bikes. I no other reason. For him, like he was so heavily invested in racing and being on this side of the world and doing it, and he was so focused, he was training so hard and doing all the right things, unlike me, who was working off natural talent. Like I was like devastated, and I wanted to be there, and she was like, oh no, it was like all right. And then she like rung up and was like, I want you guys here. So like first flight we could get, supposed to be going to Alpine Stars the next day actually to get fitted and do a whole thing with helmet and gear and everything like that. So ended up going and just jumping on a plane, flying straight to ended up getting to Hull, which is I think where he was in the Hull, whatever the
General.
Cadwell. That's Cadwell.
whatever the hospital is there, and into the ICU, and unfortunately I never got to speak to him again. Sat by his bed for sort of 36 hours or something, so at least got to be there. Mum and Dad were on the way over from New Zealand, but they didn't make it, and they ended up sort of doing surgery, removing his colon, and then they ended up opening his chest up, saying that he'd like to relieve the pressure. It's just there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. They didn't really know what was happening. There was a guy in there, and he was really good to deal with. He was sort of giving us all the info, all the sort of updates. And it was really cool. He had all his mates from CrossFit and stuff there. There was like 30 people there, like waiting around and stuff. And it was really, really nice. But ended up, they basically told us, I think about 7 o'clock at night, like he's not going to make it through the night. And you're like, like, how do you, like, what do you do? What do you do with that information? Like, you're helpless, and for me, you just want to fix it and stuff like that. But just one of those situations, just you're there and you just have to deal with it. And I guess the hardest part was then ringing everyone and like all our closest friends and family, and like going, hey, we've lost him, you know, and everyone knew what was going on. We were telling people and stuff, like sort of, oh, he's this, he's that, and like keeping them updated. But yeah, to make that phone call was pretty tough. To you do it to one person and then you'd go and do the next one, and yeah, it just like broke you again. Like you just
have to repeat this,
the
whole pain.
Doing that to like 20, 30 people, and it's just like just every time it's like the same thing. You just break down again. So the hardest one was mum and dad. They like, I think they were in like Dubai airport, and like mum, hysterical as you can expect, you know, like
trying to.
I almost wish I hadn't rung and like left a message, but yeah, what do you do at the end of the day? You know, they might have got a text from someone else, and if we hadn't done it, so yeah,
it's a situation you obviously never ever prepared for.
Oh no, 100% not. Like you can understand, like obviously with Chrissy, and like you have a crash, or Shane, you have a crash, and you have that side of things. I could understand like having an accident and something happens. You know,
there's an explanation.
You can, not that it makes it any better, but for me, like I could deal with that a lot more, because I guess I'm in that situation where I'm like, oh, you know, you crash and shit happens. But for it to be a sickness and you're in the hospital, you're in the right place, and they don't fix you, that was really hard to like take, and I still probably can't accept it. Especially that it's still going on. Like it wasn't food poisoning, it wasn't a heart condition. Well, it's partly a heart condition, maybe, who knows? But there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the background that we're still dealing with. So
they still haven't been able to give you an answer as to
no. So his wife's dealing with that at the moment, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with the hospital and that, and yeah, I don't know how much I can say or I'm allowed to say. Or I don't even really know that much myself, because whether I'm just blocking it out and don't really want to know, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, we can't change what's happened. We can just move on and like dedicate what we do, you know, for them, you know, for Damo, for Shane, for Chrissy and all of that, you know, and that's what's so special about, I guess, what we do. We kind of have a bigger audience. We've got something we can sort of sell and brand, you know. For me, I can run the 92, and that's something that's special for me, that I can have that number on the bike. And I never had a road race number to begin with, but now I can. I can run that number, which I'd prefer not to be, but you know, it's one of those you got to keep living at the end of the day. I mean, it could be worse. We could be going to war and being in trenches, and life could always be worse. At the end of the day, is the way you got to look at it, I suppose.
I think obviously like it's an incredible outlook, and thanks very much for talking about it. Obviously appreciate it's difficult, and but yeah, I think it obviously just important that we wanted to mention it and talk about it. Yeah,
for sure. And like for me, I find I don't mind talking about it, because at the end of the day, it helps everyone's memory of them live on, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
They get a bit more of Damo and Shane and Chrissy and all of this. It's so great that we have that, and we can still talk about them, and there's still something happening with that, you know. So it's as sad as it is, it's at least there's, to a certain extent, some positive out of it. You know, we still have that memory, and they're great people, you know.
Yeah, no. Well, thanks very much for that, and obviously.
Fucking job on
sorry about the emotions.
No.
It's
like you say, it's very important to remember
100%.
and talk about it, and
100%.
as difficult as it is. So thank you. And
so
you obviously were over here during that period. What was the next steps for you then? So you, I'm guessing TT probably still not on the radar for you at this point.
No,
right?
not at all. Like it was, I think 21, I'd won my first Superbike championship. Damo should have won it, but he ended up having a camshaft sensor issue on the Fireblade, which just he was always the guy. He was one of the best guys there was ever, and I just won the championship because he had a mechanical, and you know, the last round of the championship I rode better, and I had the new bike, and just all the little things, and just one of those shit happens moments, really.
Yeah.
And then 22. Was that 20? Oh, I don't know. I'm lost with the years. Might have been 21 was the championship. Yeah. And then, 22 sort of just was just doing bits and bobs at home. I think they cancelled the championship in 22 at home because of COVID. Because of we had like our second COVID in like August of 2021, and then we were like locked down again for like a long time.
I remember that, yes.
It was like real odd, but then we sort of had still some racing and stuff like that. I ended up getting hurt real bad in 22, beginning of 22, something like that. Ended up in a wall at like 200 kilometers an hour. Should have died, to be fair. Lucky for Alpine Stars and the airbag. Like, broke my neck, blew all my insides into my lung cavity and perforated diaphragm and all of that. So like it was like a rebuild again after being injured. So, and then 23 was over, watch, do all of that, home again, and was just like doing some racing, for 23, which I think was beginning of 23, I won my second championship in Superbikes. And then 23 Damo passed, and then 24 battled Ant West for the championship at home. Davey came over.
Just an average competitor.
End of 23, Davey. That's the first time I met Davey. So actually, before I came over to watch Damo, I was messaging Davey trying to get a ride on the Paget's bike. Like, if you ride, if you let me have a ride, basically, if I can have a ride on the Paget's bike at one of the rounds while I'm over, I brought leathers and everything just in case. And then Andy Irwin got hurt. I messaged the Honda team and was like trying to just have a ride, on something. And then I ended up, meeting Davey in the end of 23. He came over for Suzuki Series that year. And then he ended up riding a BM, but he was on Bridgestones, and it was just a bit of a struggle. When you're going up against Pirellis versus Bridgestones, it's a bit of a tough one,
Yeah.
And what had he done that year? I think he'd just come off Paget's for TT, and then he was riding for BM for Shishai Moulding's team.
Yes. He'd gone
Taz.
For Taz, So he was riding for Taz, and then came over to do Suzuki Series, and then while he was over in New Zealand, just was friendly at the track, stuff like that. Didn't really know him or anything. Gave him some advice at the track, like Taupo, if you go on the white lines, it's like real slippery. You'll probably high side. So avoid the white lines at all costs, kind of sort of deal. And sort of just, mingled a little bit. And then I think we'd sort of spoken a little bit, and I was like, you want to come and do like a motocross? Like I knew he was a dirt bike rider, and I was like, and like decent dirt bike rider. I was like, you want to come do my local motocross? Like it was a club day. It wasn't a club day. It was like a full blown, like one of the biggest events, like probably the second biggest event of the year, like national level. And I was like, you want to come and do it? And he's like, yeah, sounds right. And like, he was like a little bit, because he's like kind of up for anything. So he'd sort of like after the cemetery circuit, which was Boxing Day, then a couple of days later, he ended up coming up to home, and he's like, you're riding, right? And I'm like, no, I hadn't busted my thumb, but I'd like torn a leg in my thumb, rode the Suzuki Series, smoked him. And then he'll like that. And then sort of he came up, did the motocross. It was quite funny because Abby, his partner, and him, I think Abby had said to him, I'm a little bit weird or something, I think. And then Mihi, my wife, she had also said, I'm a little bit like thing. I don't know if I want some like random people we haven't really met. We'd met them in the racetrack. And then like literally they turned up and like we just got on.
House on fire.
Literally like it was like a brother that just had come into your life, and almost not at the right time, but like it was a guy from racing and just like kind of understood each other, like just good dirt bike riders, and just worked really well and just hung out and like just weirdly have become like one of my best mates, and then sort of did Suzuki Series and then I did the national championship, had good battle, got second in that, and then sort of kept in touch with Davey a bit, and he kept like, come, you need to come watch TT. And I'm like, well, like, I'd love to, but like we literally in 2024 we'd brought the shop from my parents, which was Tony Rees Motorcycles, which is Dad's name, and then renamed it to Team Rees Motorcycles, and that was in like 1st of April. We'd taken the shop over. We were still battling the insurance company from 2023 with Damo's death, getting some money back because we only had like 3 weeks of our trip. So we still had like a whole bunch of money we'd invested in like this trip, and we were trying to get it back from the insurance company. Like about 6 weeks out from TT, they'd gone, and paid us out, So we like had some money. So we were like,
let's go.
Yeah, we were like, let's go. We'll go and watch TT. And we didn't tell them we were coming. So we messaged Abby, hey, look, we're going to come, like we can make it work. I wanted to go Alpine Stars and do the whole suit fitting and helmet and all of that. So ended up going Alpine Stars, and then like was like radio silent on social media, like put nothing up.
Full stealth mode.
Turned up on like, I think it might have been Saturday of was it Friday? It must have been Friday of practice week, so it must have been last practice.
Like the best weekend to be there, basically, I think.
So we turned up there on the Friday and to watch TT for that sort of next week. And Abby picked us up from the airport, and then because she was obviously out filming, so Davey didn't sort of think anything of it, whatever. She was like, I feel like I'm like cheating on him because I'm like keeping the secret. So it was quite cool that like she like had kept that. And then like we turned up and she like rung him when we were walking to the pits and was like, oh, where are you? And he's like, oh, just on my way back to the camper. And if you know Davey, he's never anywhere on time. If he says he's going somewhere, he's not really going anywhere. He's talking and chatting and whatever, which, yeah, it's cool. We'd literally walk out from behind. I think it might have been Brooksy's ute or truck. And like Davey rides past on the scooter and like looks and sees us. Me, my wife, she's like back into the bushes like the Homer Simpson meme. She's like back into the bushes because he's seen us and he's like, what the fuck? Like same thing, same reaction as Damo. So like almost two times in a row, like we've had that reaction of like turning up and like surprising someone. So that was real cool. And like, it's quite cool because I like stoked that he was like, we were there, and he obviously got his first win that year, first TT win. So that was like pretty cool. And we were staying at the 11th milestone, just off Cronky, just off the drop there. And a friend of ours, Dave PS, he had us for a week, and that was quite cool. And got to watch, took us all around the circuit. Got to be back at the pits for Davey's first win, so that was pretty special. And yeah, it was just a neat experience. So
was that 100% a holiday, or was that where you were watching going,
that was just,
I need a part of this?
No, that was still like holiday, like was
not even remotely on your radar. You didn't sit in Hedgeback and go, oh, I think I
so we went to Gorsley. That was the first place Abby took us to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm standing like 2 meters back from the wall, like, this is fucked. Like legitimately, like I'm scared. Like I'm like, this is like not right. Like I've done street racing, but I can't even watch it street racing at home. Like me, my wife, she did some racing, like rode up until about a year or two in that we got together, and like I couldn't even like struggle to watch her going around there as well. I'm just like, I don't know what it is about watching it street racing. For me, I'm like, I get it.
I guess because
I'm like,
is so much
I don't want to see someone else crash. I'd rather it was me that crashed because I don't want anyone else to get hurt. Weirdly,
I was trying to describe this as someone that on a literally this weekend. So when you watch any form of road racing, it looks ridiculous. And I remember when I went to the Northwest thinking, this is going to be bonkers. Like I can't comprehend what I'm about to go and do. But then when you sit on the thing, you're like, it's not like that. It's hard to explain to someone, isn't it? But when you watch it, it's generally scary to watch.
Yeah.
But when you sit, it just does not feel like that.
And because you're right there, like, you just don't get that anywhere else.
Nah.
Like,
No.
even Northwest to a certain extent, you do a bit, but TT, like, so many places. And, like,
different
as
gravy,
a rider as well, like, Gorsley to me was like, that's, like, boom, blows your mind. Like, because you're coming towards you, and then you've just got this blind corner that you're, like, fifth gear, like,
sailing through.
Hopefully she'll be right. So yeah, that was sort of went and watched at Gorsley, and it was like, okay, that's just like kind of messed up. But anyway, ended up watching the whole week, and as time was going by, like every kind of time I'd been around a bit of the circuit, whether it was in the car with Abby or with Dave, and he drives an ambulance around, so we were like cruising around. And I would be linking sections together, especially that first 11 miles. I was like, linking through Glen Helen and like just seeing it for a racetrack, not seeing it for just driving around. Like I was seeing it as a racer, which I don't know if everyone does that, but for me, it was linking together in my mind. Still wasn't like, I want to come back and do it at that time.
But you were understanding it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I was figuring it out, and like, okay, I actually thought the TT went anti-clockwise. I didn't. I'd like seen it, and like I didn't really pay attention to it when Dad was watching on TV or whatever. I'd seen Hutchie and John and stuff like that, and Guy Martin and bits and bobs, but I never sat down and watched it and was like engrossed in it. Like I wasn't like, I'm coming back to race TT. Like there was never any stage where I was like, that's what I want to do. And then ended up obviously doing that trip. Davey won. We actually went out it might have been the Monday or Sunday, and the mountain was still one way, and it was wet, and we're going over the we're going over the mountain. Davey like looks at me and he goes, "You scared?" And I'm like, "No, I trust you. You don't want to be the guy that's just one seeing you and then yeets you off the mountain." Like, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, fair call." And it was like, yeah, like him driving us over there and like actually you could see he knew where he was going, like just having that confidence. I was like, shit, she's a big gig, like to figure that out at speed as well. Yeah. So it's still, I did come home to New Zealand and I started doing a little bit on the video game and like sort of thinking about it a little bit, but I was like, I want to go. I knew Pete was coming out for the Suzuki Series for 2024 and I was like, I knew he was coming. I want to beat him. Like that was my goal, I want to beat him and like put it, like kind of prove it to myself I was good enough as a rider that I could then, like I talked about before, you need to dominate in your country before you go anywhere. For me, I wanted to prove to myself that I could then go and race in Australia and like be a bit more competitive than what I was last time and like just have a little bit of confidence and like start, maybe do something. I needed to go do something different. I'd done New Zealand for like 7 or 8 years now. Like it was time to go and do some new tracks and do something different. Still wasn't like I'm going to do TT in 2025. That wasn't what I was going to do. Later in the year, what was it, November, got married and we'd become such good friends with Davey and Abby, invited them out. We would like put no pressure on them to come or anything like that. They were sort of like the reserved like fourths as like our groomsmen and bridesmaids. And but we weren't sure if they're coming or not. Davey obviously ended up coming out and that side of the world, or halfway that way, he had Macau as well. So he come to the funeral.
That was class.
In a way it is.
To be fair, I'm planning a wedding at the moment and that's probably the right name for it.
Yeah. It was good. It was great. It's come to the wedding and
backpedal.
Come to the wedding and then
edit that out, Chris.
Sorry, mate. Come to the wedding and then we had it was just one of those, like we had all the right people there. We probably had like 80 people on the dance floor just going hard, just to like, all sorts of music, you know, just stuff you wouldn't even think about. Like Zombie was just like absolutely cranking at a wedding, like on the dance floor, and it's like just the most bizarre song. So at like midnight, then Davey took off, and then he was off to Macau, and then he was coming back for Suzuki Series after that for 24. So Davey and Pete, obviously, they sort of were FHO at the time, did Macau, and then they both came out for Suzuki Series. So they were like, obviously, Davey had won Stock 1000 Championship here with Taz in 24. And then, come Macau. I think he won Macau with the qualifying result or whatever it was because it was quite wet.
They didn't race, did they?
Yeah. And then so him and Pete obviously came out for Suzuki Series. And like for me, I'd like basically come back from TT and I was like focused on training and being fit and strong and like just doing all the right things I could to like be ready for Suzuki
so these
Series.
Guys turning up.
Yeah. And like, you know, threw everything at it and like really had a good go and did the first round and like smashed that lap record at home, like by a good chunk, by like a second, I think. So, and I think Davey was next closest and he was like half second off still. And like, first race, I think two of the races of the week he ended up winning by like a decent margin. Davey beat me in the other one. I just could not get past him. Like he was riding the perfect bike, the perfect lines, just doing everything right. Got Davey Todd start as he does. And then like Pete was on Dunlops, I think, so he just didn't have the grip, you know. And Taupo's like real low grip circuit. So if you were on like SCX, SCQ, like just works real good for like 2-3 laps and you can really make the most of the tyre. And Davey was on Metzler's, I think, so like I knew what to do. I've ridden there enough, like I know how to ride that circuit. Like you know where the grip is. It's just so easy to learn. And so I kind of dominated the first round and like broke the lap record, was stoked with how I was riding and everything like that. And then Davey and Abby come to stay at home during the week. We did some mountain biking bits and bobs and they were like kind of like, oh, you need to come do something different. You need to like do something outside of New Zealand. And I was like, oh, that was already going through my mind. And then just with everything we'd sort of talked about and like TT sort of side of things. And I was like, messaged Davey when I got to the second round of the Suzuki Series at Manfield. And I was like, I want to like seriously, like the whole time I'm driving there, like 5-hour drive, it's just going through my mind. Like, I think I want to do TT. I think I want to do TT. I texted him like, I want to do, like, look at doing TT. And then we get to the track on the Friday, I think, and he's like, were you serious about your message yesterday? I'm like, yeah, like, I'd like to look at, like,
How do I do this?
yeah, like, I'd like to have, like, to be honest, I saw no other option of going internationally racing without it being stupid money.
Yeah.
And it was sort of one of those things, not bucket list, like to tick it off the bucket list, but it was like, it'd be a great experience to do it and like see where you'd sort of fare. Obviously, I'd been over already. I'd met a few guys. I met like John Burrows. I actually didn't meet Clive or Paget's team or anything like that. But I met a few. And then Davey sort of said, oh, sweet, okay, we'll put you in touch with the guys from TT. So Ed Wilson from TT ended up getting in contact, and then Davey was sort of sorting his deal out with Clive for the Super Sport and obviously the Twin for 25. And so he's like, oh look, I'll have it. I don't think Clive's got a rider. I'll have a talk to him. And obviously he ended up talking to Clive and sort of, by sort of literally in New Zealand time, like half an hour before like New Year's Eve, like it was like done.
Wow.
Like, well, it wasn't done, but it was like.
Had you spoke to Clive at this point?
That was when the conversation had started with Clive.
Right.
So I decided on like the 12th of December or something that I wanted to do TT for the following year. Well, for 26. So this TT, that was my time frame, was like 18 months, like would be a good figure everything out, do the homework, do everything right, you know, and be like ready for TT 26 was like my goal. But it kind of didn't work that way, as we've found out. Yeah. So kind of
was your conversation with Clive, I want in December 24, right, Clive?
No, so I only got
to do it, but I want to do it 26.
No, so literally Clive texted me like half an hour before New Year's saying, oh, hey, look, we'll have catch up, have a talk in the new year. Was sort of there was no, we're doing it this year. There was like, oh, let's have a conversation. And that was like, December 31st. Meanwhile, I've just done Suzuki Series and ended up beating Davey and Pete and new lap record at the Cemetery Circuit as well. And then we went and raced the motocross, which weirdly was the best MX1 motocross result of my life. I got third overall. So that was real weird. So I'd had like a real good end of 24 and then, 24, and then got that text like literally New Year's Eve. And so I was like, what do you do with that, you know? And then so sort of it just over January, like a kind of was like not like real. I guess we weren't like messaging back and forth like flat out, like, oh yeah, what's happening? Like there was no real details. It was like, oh, we'll have a talk. So we ended up having a talk for about an hour or so, and then it was like, okay, it's happening like this year.
What you could tell by the way he was talking.
Yeah, that's like it's sort of like like I wasn't. I guess for me, I'm like, well, you don't go, oh, no, I don't want to do it this year. You're not going to go to Clive Paget or a top TT team. I don't want to do this year. I want to do it next year. Like, you can't, I don't know, when the opportunity's there.
Yeah, when the stars align,
you know, like, which they obviously did. So then for me, I was like, okay, well, that's a sort of, that's what's happening. So, like, I needed to, like, get my A into G, but then I think at the workshop at home, like I'd sort of put in place like this could be happening. So like I'd put all these areas in place with the team, with the wife, because we work together in the business. That like, okay, well, this could be happening. You know, like we don't know when we're going, but you know, we need everyone to sort of be in charge of their roles. So we had our parts girl; she was in charge. Emma was in charge of her parts role, and like. Then we had Kieran, my salesman, who was the parts guy. He was then like sort of managing the front of house with her and like overseeing. And then we had her, Mihi's sister, my wife's sister. She, Toriana, she took on the admin role. So she had only started in like February working for us. But fortunately, she'd been working for one of my best mates next door at the Husqvarna shop. So she'd sort of come across. So she'd sort of was like overseeing a little bit, I guess, of like all the departments as the admin and all that. And then my workshop manager, Rees, who's like unreal, like just can fix pretty much any problem, you know, with any bike, just gets it done, just hard-working guy, you know. And so he was taking care of the workshop. So sort of each department had themselves taken care of, and then we sort of was overseeing as much as I could. Mihi was doing more, I was doing jack shit. So
watching TT onboards,
videos,
literally was watching TT onboards. So that was sort of we put that into effect, like literally when we went back to work in January, like without even knowing it was happening. It was like, right, this is what could happen. So we put that in place that if it happens, then everyone knows what's happening. It's not like a surprise. Oh, by the way, we're fucking off for 3 months.
See ya.
Perk of being a boss, though.
Yeah. So, and like 24, that none of this was even on the cards, like we were buying the business and it was sort of just going to do some racing at home and maybe in Australia or whatever, and yeah, weirdly, it just, the world got flipped upside down. This all sort of stemmed originally from Damo, obviously passing away, and then mum and dad wanted out of the business in terms of the noise. They just wanted us to take it on. That was always the plan. Me and Damo were going to take it on as a team and, with our wives, and that was the goal. We were going to
keep the family business going.
Yeah, that's
we were going to turn it was going to be Team Rees motorcycles, and that was the goal. So when we took it on 24, changed the name to Team Rees motorcycles. So that's what mum and dad built. They built Team Rees. It's not even so much the family, but everyone that was working within the business was part of the team. They are the team, that's just how we operate. So yeah, so we took that on, changed the name, and yeah, then we ended up within 6 weeks we were off to TT to watch. and then by within the first 12 months, it was like, oh shit, we could be actually racing TT. And yeah, that sort of.
So you've got Ed's lined it up with you. Clive's
agreeing.
Got you a bike and you've got
yeah
somewhere to park your ass.
Yeah.
You're in. Or at this point, are you still thinking,
Nah, I guess I committed to it. When I decided in December I was coming, I was like,
I'm there.
I guess the timeline was it is what it is. But I was like, I'm committed to doing it. So like I was doing some more homework. Once I sort of like, it was confirmed, which was like end of January with Clive, that it was like, okay, it was like locked in and we're doing it. We're doing the first 2 rounds of BSB as like a warm-up. We're doing Northwest and then TT.
That was going to be my question, was at what point did you get an opportunity to get over?
Well, Clive was like, we're testing in Portimao. And I'm like, that'd be so sick. I'd love to go ride Portimao. We were doing that in like February. I'm like, that doesn't work because I still had the New Zealand Championship, which I was contracted with Honda New Zealand that I was doing that.
Right.
So then I could have done it, but then I would have been like, it was quite a tough one to make work, to be fair. So ended up, making it happen. And we missed the test, but then we sort of planned, okay, end of March, we wanted to be over and meet up with Damo's wife, Talia. She actually still lives, she's a Kiwi, but she still lives here in the UK.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she's still living over here. So we were like, it'd be cool to come over, catch up with her for Damo's birthday, and went and did a sunrise walk. And it was freezing. It was in Saltburn. And it was absolutely freezing. So we'd rocked up and gone straight to do that. And then, it was BSB 2 tests. And then Alton, Northwest, Donington, TT was that was what we'd sort of agreed with Clive. That was the sort of timeline. And then it was like, if it's going good, we'll stay on for longer. But for us, it's the financial side of things, trying to be here and do it all, let alone.
Yeah, with a business to run and all the other stuff.
Exactly, and feeling guilty for taking the opportunity and coming and doing this. Yeah, I feel guilty to a certain extent. But then at the same time, like, Damo was looking at doing TT and Dad had the opportunity to TT, never did. Whether he sort of regrets not taking the opportunity to come and do it and experience it, because he was fantastic. He was king of the roads in New Zealand multiple times, and lap records at every road circuit at home, or street circuit we call them, because they are only a street circuit, they're not roads as such. So then it was like, hey, it would be cool to have that opportunity, and so I sort of just grabbed it by the horns, and that was
fair play to you. Fair play to you.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I remember you not to like lower the tone in any way, but I remember you being at Donington, and I remember you having a massive crash at McLean's. Yeah, was that was like a baptism of fire for you then, straight into BSB? First it was stock round.
Well, I'd done the first 2 tests, and I guess they'd gone quite well. Everyone was like kind of saying, you're going, you're doing really well. For me, I was disappointed because I expected to be closer to the front, and obviously Luke's on an identical bike, and obviously he's got all the experience of the circuits and stuff like that, and it's like, for me, I just come from New Zealand. I felt like I was riding, like I could do no wrong. And do whatever I wanted with the bike, and I could be there. And then I got here and I struggled a lot. And then now, after a lot of work, it was the treaded tires that I really struggled with.
Oh, okay.
I'd only ever ridden on slicks. So I jumped on the treaded tire, and the profile was smaller and all of that, and just really struggled to get it to work for myself, struggled to get the suspension to work for myself, like what I operate at home, you know. So like for me, it was so different. I'd gone from controlling everything and being the one that had the final say and doing everything to like rocking up and the team does everything, and kind of just felt out of place a little bit.
It's a lot of adjustment if you're not used
for
to
sure.
working in
And
that.
then it was the same thing. I'm like, okay, I need to just like learn the tracks and like learn the tires a bit, and really, even probably still now, I'm still struggling with the tire. You know, I'm still used to riding on the slick tire so much, and yeah, obviously had Donington test on the weekend just been, and you know, I went a little bit faster than I did last year in the same test, but I'm still like, I still don't feel like, I feel like something's missing. I still don't feel like I'm where I want to be, and whether that's, I feel like the only like factor now is a little bit of that is the treaded tire. But yeah, it was kind of, yeah.
Did you feel like going to the TT? Was that a concern?
Nah, because you're not on those tyres anyway.
I was just going to say that you're on a slick anyway, aren't you, the TT?
Yeah. And a similar profile to what you are. Weirdly, I just, that's so used to that profile of tyre after riding on it for so long now, and riding on a slick tyre for so long, knowing.
But you weren't on a slick on the super stock, were you?
Yeah, you're still on slick at roads.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure you are.
I think so, yeah. So the
tyres in the bike anyway.
It's black and it's round.
But I think because Superstock at one point was slicks as well. They've only just recently gone back. I think.
So 23, no, 24 they were slicks.
Yeah, 25.
And then 25 they went back to treadeds because I think the lap time got so close.
I mean, Kyle Wright just proved that last weekend.
I feel like 23 they were slicks as well.
Yeah, possibly were. Yeah.
What year did Dan win the stock now? That was 20.
I think there were slicks. There were slicks when they changed the format. Remember when they had the 2-part race? I think it was slicks then. Yeah. So they totally changed Stock 1000, didn't they? And it was a pit stop race and so on and so forth. But so you'd done the start of the BSB season.
Yeah.
Obviously, a bit of a different setup to like what you used to, and then heading to the Northwest, which from a circuit perspective is not the TT, right? Like it's not a half an hour lap or 20 minutes.
No, but it's still for me was completely different to roads in New Zealand.
Like fast, like very fast.
We're second, third gear in New Zealand on our street circuits, whereas I'd gone Northwest and you're like six wide open for like what's it, like almost 20 seconds or something like that.
A long time.
Did you spend much time studying the Northwest and the TT? Or did you just prioritise
terrible job
the TT?
I did a terrible job.
I don't know the Northwest for your homework.
I didn't do a lot of homework, to be honest with you.
I don't know if that's such a bad thing for the Northwest. I really don't.
It is a lot. I mean, you're going in a straight line for a lot of it, and you got some chicanes, which chicane's a chicane, but I mean, the coast road's technical, but as a short circuit rider, which I don't class myself as a roads guy, but then I'm not a great short circuit guy, maybe in BSB, but for that, going to the roads, like I felt like, okay, well, that's fairly easy. And I did do a little bit of homework and I knew where I was going. So it's not like I didn't know where I was going. I knew where I was going before I got there, but
you can overdo it though. I think you can definitely overdo it. TT different. I couldn't comment, but I really do think even I did some road races in Ireland and stuff, and I think I did too much.
What you'd fried your head before you got there?
No, shit myself before I got there, like thinking, and then when you get on the bike, it's totally different. And there's just I think there's some things you should know. A lot of the newcomers stuff they do, I think, is the right amount. So you're almost better off just like doing I don't know. I think I've done too much.
Did you get dragged along to doing I've worded that incorrectly. Did you go along to any of the newcomer stuff for the TT, or because none of that would have landed right for you, would it?
I'd already committed to coming, and obviously, I guess fortunately for me, my pedigree and what I'd done at home
tick some boxes for you for sure.
Yeah. And then obviously we had a like an online interview with Milky and the crew, and sort of they asked questions and went through the process that way. And then obviously you still have to do your mountain course license. So then I, came out to do that, spent a week on the island and did laps driving around with Milky and doing all the right things, obviously. And
Milky is an absolute, just a shout out to Milky.
Yeah,
The man
legend.
is just a legend. Just
honestly, he just remembers absolutely everything around there.
Yeah. I did the Manx.
He's
and the classic.
A little bit harsh on him, but it almost throws your head a little bit too much is the only thing. Like, for me, I'm like, we'd done like the first sector, and I was just like, I was knackered, you know, like I'd done.
Yeah.
He did a really good job. He was real thorough. He'd stop, we'd look, and he'd actually go and make you understand. And it was quite good being one-on-one. He made you understand where you needed to be on the circuit, where certain things were.
You just can't take it all in on one lap.
No, exactly. Unfortunately, I was there for a week, so we did quite a few laps together and did some with Johnny as well. And, you know, like the first lap was 3 hours. I got back from that and I needed to sleep. I was, you know, it's just so much to learn. And
it's great to do that much. And like, I totally get your point. Like it can, I mean, I've watched so many videos of the TT and I honestly couldn't navigate you past Union Mills.
Yeah.
Like, and I've ridden around it a few times and I still couldn't navigate you past Union Mills even in a car.
I did the Manx and the Classic TT the first year, but the Manx organised, because I was doing the Classic TT, the Manx didn't want out to do me, so I ended up being looked after by the TT organisers. Yeah. So I got Milky, and I couldn't have asked for anything. Like every time I'd ring him and say, I'm going to come over this weekend, pick me up from the airport, do a few laps with me, drop me off, get the hire car, and then I'd just go on my own and just try and take my time doing it that way. But like you say, you do a lap with him and you think, how the fuck is all of that in your head?
Yeah.
How is all of that living in there? It is a lot to take in. And I can imagine your position of being the other side of the world, having a few phone calls and a video call and then watching a few onboards. Then you get over and look at it, because then you're looking at it in a completely different light to how you
fortunately, obviously, I'd been over for 24 for watching the TT that year. Yeah. So
but you said you weren't looking at it as a point of...
I was still looking at it as a track, but I wasn't... You're not looking at it
in the
thoroughly,
exact same way, for sure.
Not that you can driving around it anyway, but you can still pick things up.
You learn the direction and a few bits.
Yeah, you learn that it doesn't go anti-clockwise.
Left out the paddock.
Mitch Rees is in Douglas.
How different was it when you'd done your laps in the car and then they said, right, you're going to do your speed control lap. So you set off down Braille behind the guy in the high vis and you're thinking, oh my God, this looks completely different again.
Fortunately, when I decided, we had sort of that whole New Year's break. We had like 10 days. Davey was staying at home. We'd been playing a little bit of PlayStation, and he was the perfect teacher. Like,
yeah, you've done all right there.
Yeah,
he's probably
couldn't
the
ask
guy.
for a better guy to be in your corner to teach you. And he was, just real good at, pointing things out and stuff like that, and then doing the car laps. I did a lot of PlayStation. When I sort of decided, once I knew, so February, March for me, I'd get up at 5 a.m, I'd train, do some whether it was a cycle for an hour or something like that, do a workout. And then I'd jump on the PlayStation and do like 2 laps. Then I'd sit down with breakfast. The wife would make breakfast. I'd watch an onboard lap, drive to work all day till 8 till 5. Come home, jump on the mountain bike for an hour and a half, back inside, couple of laps, watch it onboard, sleep. And I repeated that for like 6 weeks, like on repeat. So I'd done that homework side of things. So I knew where I was going. I knew my lefts, rights. I knew, and Davey said, and he's right, the video game is so accurate. Like even the gear changes are pretty close to where you want to be, like, or what gear you're going to be in for each corner, if it's set up right. Obviously, you can take risk and go way faster on the game and, 140 mile an hour lap on 600. But to be able to have the video game is so key that you can just see and you can actually see. And even like once you start getting a little bit better, and the game motorcycle games are hard to play in general, but to play the game and like you can feel the bumps and you can see the bumps a little bit, and they are actually there when you ride the track. You can actually correlate that quite a lot. So fortunately, like that first speed control lap, which was crap anyway, because we started drizzling. As soon as we set off, it started drizzling, and like we're going over the mountain, and it's like Johnny Barton's on a BMW with treaded tires on, and I'm on slicks, and there's water coming off his tire, and I'm like, we're coming down to the creek, and I'm like, so Ginger's just easing it in there, and like, it was a real steady lap. Fortunately, there was only obviously me and Barry Burrell that were the two newcomers last year, and Barry was with Milky, and I was with Johnny. So, but yeah, it was.
So did they have to
it was almost irrelevant. We almost shouldn't have even bothered with that lap. It was. I wanted to go faster in sectors where I believe we should have been going faster, just to try and keep a bit of tyre temp and stuff like that up.
Yeah.
And then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. Like we were like 10 minutes behind when we came back into the pits.
Oh, really?
Johnny was quite steady, obviously, with the rain. So, and he probably doesn't do a lot of riding compared to maybe Milky does a bit more. So, yeah. So it was just almost a waste of time in a certain
was that
extent.
then ticked off as your speed control
Yeah.
lap then? So
Yeah.
even though those
That's
conditions,
mad, isn't it?
they
Yeah.
said, right, next one, you're on your
Yeah.
own.
I think a sidecar like crashed on the speed control lap for
Really?
the sidecar group and stuff like that. Just spun out and like tipped over. Like,
Honest, I've obviously not done one of the TT, but a funny story about John Burrows. I might have told this story before actually, but when we went to the Cookstown for the first time, you have to do like 2 laps behind an instructor.
Yeah.
Who happened to be John. And it was, I don't know if you've seen the Cookstown or whatever, but it was pissing with rain. It's basically a farm track connected by a main road. There's crap on the road and everything. And honestly, we set off from the start finish straight, and John was on 1,000, I was on a 600, and he fucked off. I'd never seen him for the entire lap. And when I got back to the pits, he was sat there waiting.
Yeah.
I thought that was super helpful.
At least you got to see the track and what it was for yourself.
I thought it was horrendous. So I can imagine like doing that for half an hour or 25 minutes or however long it would have took you on that, thinking, fucking hell, I want to get off this thing because it's raining.
So then my first real speed control lap was probably the first practice, which was, I think, twins in Super Sport.
Oh, because you can go out on a big bike. That's
yeah,
right,
so I went out, and fortunately I caught a twin on my first speed control lap, or like quite quickly. And then I was like, just follow him, like follow a ways back and just like get a little bit of a feel. And like, obviously he's going to tip in, so you get a bit of a feel for where they're tipping in and things like that. And it was a lot slower, so you couldn't get in too much trouble. And then I think I passed him down Solby and then caught a Super Sport bike, and then same thing, followed the Super Sport bike. So my first like proper lap was actually quite a decent speed control one, just to be able to follow in a like a chill manner, like not rushing anything, just follow those bikes. And I think I even might have pulled over at Ramby hairpin because there was a few Super Sport bikes behind that they then pulled past, and then I just followed, like I was in no mean, I'm still not in a rush,
It's the right mentality, especially around there.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I know we've jumped to TT. Just to jump back to the Northwest, you actually had a bit of a spill at the Northwest, didn't you? Sorry, I keep talking about your accidents, but it's kind of like you don't crash at road races very often, so it's interesting when you know like kind of what happened and stuff. So first of all, what did you make to the Northwest, and then where did you crash?
So I had Alton, which was the first round, which was tough.
Probably the worst place to go on 1,000 for your first
in stock
BSB.
1,000, and it was like
probably the worst circuit.
Yeah, I did all right. I think I got 11th in the stock race. That
especially when you come from flat tracks, with no undulation, and you go all.
And like I don't use the rear brake, so
I mean,
for me, that's hard, and I don't have a thumb brake, so it's like I ran off. What's the last right-hander before the final turn?
Druids.
Yeah, I was in the gravel there.
What?
Yeah, first like outlap, but it wasn't like
wow.
I'd been on the simulator at Toddy's place, and we'd like been like going lap for lap, sort of like if someone beat your fastest lap on the simulator, then you'd like someone else would have a go, sort of deal. So I'd like come through there, Druid's first lap, I'm in the gravel. Like it's on my Instagram, like Abby's got it on video, and it's like I'm just like through the gravel trap first lap, and I'm like, this is not a good start. I was like lucky I was like scraped the airbag, like lucky I didn't go down. So that was my start to Alton. That was Alton test, and then the first round was alright, went alright. I think got 11th.
I mean, that's just so for everyone that's listening, 11th is like unbelievable.
Yeah,
like that's not shit.
But for me, I'm like disappointed with that.
Which you're always going to be.
Yeah,
but
it's a tough one because and I guess for anyone that comes to New Zealand, like you're going to be at the front. Like if you're a decent rider, you're going to be at the front. There's a few guys. There's maybe 4 guys, and you have to be on it and to be able to win a race. So most of the time, like Davey and Pete and stuff like that, they can be fighting for the win.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I go over there and I'm like, I expect more from myself. And so I'm a little bit disappointed, but hey, it was okay. We finished, didn't crash, didn't have any issues. Fitness wasn't great, didn't feel great, just struggled a lot physically for whatever reason. And then obviously there was the weekend Shane and Owen, obviously, you know, the whole massive crash, and that all ended up happening. So, you know, like I was walking around kind of a little bit lost, and Shane's dad had rang me from New Zealand because couldn't get a hold of anyone, you know, like service is not great there anyway. Davey had a Starlink on his motorhome, so Shane's old man had managed to get a hold of me, and he's like, oh, look, Shane's not great, you know, I think he'd passed on the track, but then they brought him back, and I was like, oh, sweet, like that's best case scenario, like that's what you want to hear, like he's got a bunch of internal injuries, within half an hour he'd rung me back and said he'd passed. And you're like, I'd walked around and I'd seen Ben Curry and like just same side of the world, you know, like, you know, Kiwis always the Anzac thing, you know, and so you sort of confide in maybe people that are close and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't even like, you know, if it doesn't go well, you know, I don't even want to go to the Northwest. Like I was like, just, it was the same shit as Damo, just repeated, you know. So, and then Kerry, Shane's dad, rang up and was like, oh, we've lost him. And I'm just like, you're just broken again, you know, and it just brings everything back. And it's just like, so the last thing I wanted to do was like, Davey's like, come on, man, like we gotta go. And I'm like, I'm torn because I'm like, I feel like I need to be there for Hannah and go to the hospital and do all that. And then I'm like, at the same time, like I need to go do, like I've got a commitment with.
Yeah, you feel like you're
going and racing at the Northwest. That's what I'm here for. And
of course, you'd be going literally straight to the Northwest.
So then, like, got all these things happening, and I'm just like so torn with what I do, and like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to cry, and I was crying, you know, I just was broken. Like I don't want to do anything. You just want to crawl into a hole, and it's just like, so Davey was like, oh, come on, like, you know, got to get to the ferry sort of deal. So, you know, I'm broken and just whatever, mine's gone. You know, get to Northwest and you've got all the sign-ons and do all that and get all that sorted. And, you know, Davey and Abby were great and my wife and stuff like that. And, you know, just, it was a tough, still is tough, you know, but then you go from that and then it's like, oh, Thursday or Wednesday we're lining up to be a newcomer at the Northwest. And for me, I'm like, this is what Damo and Shane, you know, like they were over here racing. Like for me, it's like, go and do this. And, you know,
they would have carried on if it was the other way around. And
what will be at the end of the day, you know. So, I mean, if it was Damo, it would be different. But Shane was like a mate. We're literally sitting in the caravan the night before talking, chatting and catching up. Because then, not unfortunately, but obviously he'd been away racing internationally with America and then the BSB for a long time. And like up until 2017, you know, I had a couple of years and we hung out, good mates, like him and Damo were, and, you know, stuff like that. So for me, it was like real cool. We were talking about the future and what was happening. And, you know, he was talking about moving back to New Zealand in 2027, I think it was, and stuff like that. So like last year was going to be his last year racing in the British Championship. And then, to have that. So then you've literally just sat there and just like had such a good time, like talking with your mate and stuff like that. And then that happens and you're just like, and then, obviously off to the Northwest we go and get on with the job.
Yeah. Such a weird sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the carrying on that like always gets me, because you think
you feel guilty
else,
for it's almost like, oh, we've forgotten about them, but in no way you have.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's almost our coping mechanism.
Yeah, definitely.
To a certain extent,
It's our way of dealing with what has happened, is the escapism of putting your helmet on and going and riding the bike is your only way of...
Well, that's just from the world in general, but for that, it's
being at peace with what you're doing. I don't know, unless you've been in our situation, the sport doesn't make sense from an outsider looking in, does it? They just think, why would you do it? Why has that been your decision?
One of your good friends has just died riding a bike and you're going to go ride one.
And you think that's a good way of doing it? Yeah, because it's the only way I know how to deal with it is to get on a bike and be...
It's your happy place. It's...
But it is like you're right, because it's... I mean, everyone's connection with people is different, but I'll never forget going to Brands Hatch after Chrissy's accident and driving through the gates and being angry, because everyone was just setting up, like just stuff going on. And you think,
Oh, the world's moved on from it.
yeah, but obviously, like that's not the case. But so for you to have to then pack your motorhome up and get on a ferry and go to the Northwest and have the mindset of going and doing something like the Northwest, I can't even imagine where you would have been starting with that.
Yeah, I've just gone, we were at a short circuit and that happens, and I'm going to go ride like one of the most dangerous races in the world. Like, what am I thinking? Like, I've never done it before. So like for me, going through my brain, I'm like, oh, is this really the right thing I should be doing?
Yeah.
And then you do it, and then Wednesday went pretty good. I think went all right, and then the Thursday qualifying session, I think we'd stopped qualifying on Wednesday maybe, or Superbike might have been stock qualifying, and then Thursday at Superbike qualifying, and I actually jumped in behind Jamie Coward, or he might have come past or something like that, and I was like, oh yeah, sweet, like see what I can do, see if I can keep up, and like kind of just sat with him, and I wasn't trying too hard, and I was kind of sitting there, and I was like, oh yeah, sweet, like relatively happy with that. And then come out of Metropole towards church, and then Jamie had got past the rider, and I was like, oh, I need to try and like stick with him. And I'd sort of run offline a bit, and the road was still real dirty, and it's off camber there, and it was possibly too hard on the throttle, and just high-sided myself, like
coming out of Metropole.
Yeah, but
towards
like around this like kink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a big crown in the road, isn't it? And you can sort of drop off the other side of it.
Yeah, and because I was trying to pass the lap rider, I think I'd actually high-sided past the lap rider, because I like got up next to him, and so I'd high-sided, and like, fortunately I slid up the road. I did clip the curb, and I was like, oh, it's all done. It's over, like a fuck job.
I'm off, like, yeah.
Yeah, like that's it. And like I ended up like literally skinned my finger down to the bone, and it was broken, and ended up doing my AC joint and broke a couple of ribs. And I was like, oh, it's like, this is not ideal, like massive big hematoma on my hip and stuff. And I'm like, wrote the suit off.
Oh, no.
Like every panel was scraped. Like I sent it back to Alpine Stars, and they were like, oh, we'll just make a new one. So that'll get made into a beanbag or something, I guess. I don't know. But so I ended up, kind of was like, like that's done, and I smacked my head. I didn't get concussed or anything like that. Like helmet did it. It's like, as all the helmets do nowadays, they just, the level of them is so high. Like it didn't get knocked out. Like it just got up, and I was just like, whoa, like, barely even sort of had a headache sort of deal, and like had a big crash, clipped the curb. Unfortunately, I wrote the bike off, which wasn't great. So, and the boys were like, and they were like, oh no, we'll get sorted for tonight's races. And I'm like,
so is this on the Thursday?
It's on Thursday at like midday-ish or whatever.
So you've done a few laps by this point, anyway. Yeah. Did you ride a 600, or did you just ride?
Just big bike. So TT didn't want me riding a 600. I wanted to ride a 600 and a Superbike, because I felt 600 would be a bit slower, but you could use the Superbike braking markers. And for me, I was just going to use it as like, I could ride slower, take in some scenery maybe, and just like learn a bit more at a slower pace. Whether it would have been beneficial or not, it's hard to tell. I think a twin is too far for me. Like I don't ride little bikes. Like I said before, like I did 2 races on a super sport bike in Australia in 2017.
And that was
I've ridden 600 a little bit on and off now and again.
Did they give you a reason for that?
They just said, well, this is what you ride, and like you're better to focus on one bike. It's going to be the same every time. Everything you do, it's going to be the same. So I understand, and I was like, yep, makes sense. And they go, you can ride in all the practice sessions on one
your
bike.
big bike. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's not so bad.
Which is brilliant, really, isn't it?
It is good, yeah.
I only rode a 600 when I went to the Northwest, and I regretted it. Because, I think you ride if you're used to it as well, you ride it harder.
Yeah.
And it wasn't enough time. I should have rode a big bike and not rode a 600.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. I think that's the right advice.
So so then I only ended up riding just the stocker and Superbike and everything. So the same bike all year, the whole time.
Yeah.
So nothing changed on it except obviously what we were changing and bits and bobs. So
and apart from you had to have the second one because you wrote one off.
So then they ended up fixing that one while we were there. I think the frame had some scrapes in it, but put it back together, built a new bike. They could have possibly had it going for the race on Thursday evening, and I was like just not worry about it. Like, I don't think it's the right thing. Like, I don't think I should do the evening races. Like, take your time, get the bike right. Give me a day's off because I think it's Thursday and then Friday off. And then I like sort of had Friday to recover. Well, I lay in the motorhome playing Northwest on the PlayStation. So I'd stolen Davey's PlayStation and I was playing that in the motorhome so I could, just
Scrub up a little bit.
yeah, and I just wasn't feeling well, and like I was sore, and like ribs were sore, and so it wasn't a great start. So then obviously racing for Saturday. So I think what did we have, 2 Superbike and a stock race on the Saturday, and I think I was fastest newcomer from Northwest as well. So we did all right. I think I got 11th in the last Superbike race, so I was genuinely happy with that.
Yeah, that's unbelievable result.
I was starting on the second row in the Superbike grid as well, so I was just riding around by myself. So that was...
Oh, you were in the first wave?
Second wave.
Oh,
so I started at the front of the second wave because I'd crashed in quali. So I think I started like 24th. So I was like, I managed to I think Marcus Simpson was 22nd or something. So he might have been the first guy in the group. So sort of used them to like draft in the first straight and then managed to sort of break them like coast road, obviously being a short circuit. The coast road sort of suited me a bit better.
Yeah.
Managed to sort of get away, and then I was sort of riding my own race from there, and got back, and I think I was like, in the last one, I was like 0.1 off Davo Johnston. So I was like, bugger, would have been cool to like beat the Aussie boy, and like Davo's good dude. So, but yeah, it was cool. Would have been cool to get a top 10. But hey, 11th for there was pretty good. And
unbelievable.
I think lap time was fairly decent. So
if you look back at like what Davey, etc., would have done in their first year, I bet you the lap time's very similar.
I think Davey was like trying to brag to me, and I was like, well, I think I maybe had a second. Like I just beat him. He's like,
not that you've been checking the stats.
So Davey actually had checked the stats. He's a big stat guy. He was like, he had checked it, and he was like, I didn't want to break it to you, but I think I beat you for the lap times. And then he looked it up, and he's like, bugger. So he ended up did, but yeah, it was by no means like I wasn't focused on going there. I was just focused on there to like go and just do what I could and focus on my own riding rather than everyone else around me sort of deal. So, and the roads are so different, like you just, that's where the Northwest is hard, having the mass start, it's, you want to just be able to do it yourself and kind of just.
I remember that being very, so in practice, I did all my laps alone and then getting into the race on the Thursday night and fucking head down towards university and I shit my pants because all of a sudden there's 3-4 bikes around you and you're like, whoa, this is now very different. Like it is weird, isn't it? And it
feels like you're running out of road real quick.
I mean, if you blink, you're on the white line.
Yeah.
At that speed, it is mad. I mean, I still loved it, but did you have a favourite part of the circuit?
As a Black Hill?
Yeah.
It just feels quite cool coming up over there, and I think especially when the weather was unreal last year. So like, it was quite cool coming up over there and just,
From sort of church, I think up over onto the course road's just a bit like it's built up, isn't it? And cool.
Yeah, to the first chicane, and then just like that section is like quite cool to experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Just something else.
Yeah, well, it's just
I remember coming back from what's the big roundabout at the back? The university?
I never did. I never did the Northwest.
After university.
Did you not?
No, I never did.
I thought you had.
No.
University's the left, isn't it? Up over the flyover.
This is the magic roundabout or whatever. I'm
Possibly.
terrible with that.
Possibly.
Anyway, I was coming out of there, and I think it might have been like just one of the practice, like warm-up laps heading to the grid on the Saturday, and I was like, this is pretty cool. Like,
yeah, it is cool.
It's like unreal. Like, it's, pretty neat to be like, I guess you look at it and go like, there might be 200 riders here right now, and like one of 200 people in the world to get to like roar around on the street, and that's what every motorcyclist ever wants to do.
I know.
Let's go absolutely flat
They're
out.
restricted.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I got it in my head that I wanted to go there, because I went there on a camping trip to Ireland on a road bike with my dad and his pals, and I hadn't been racing for a year or two, and we were like camped down the road, like I don't know, not 10 minutes down the road or something, and we're heading off, and I said, "Whoa, lads, where he's going? Like, we need to go and do a lap. Like, let's go around."
Yeah.
They weren't bothered, and we're riding on the coast road, and I had intercom on, chatting to me dad, and I was like, "That's it, mate. Fucking get this road bike sold. Get us.
We're doing this next year."
We're on it. And then it took a couple of years, but did do it and I loved it. It was class. But you're right, that feeling is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I can imagine TT is like on steroids compared to that, because that's like another level again, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yes and no. It's still it's still the same. It's still fast, and that's the biggest thing. Like when people ask me, like, what's TT like? I'm like, it's just mental. It's just so fast for so long. Like when you're talking average speed over 200 kilometers an hour for us, like most people, like if they do 200 on the road, on their road bike, they're like just absolutely buzzing about it. So like to like do that as like your average speed is like pretty mental.
I agree with the TT's decision to send you with, or to just bring a stocker. Completely agree with that, because it's familiarity, it's what you're used to, it's what you ride in day out. I completely understand that. I also think, I bet that was a fucking eye opener.
Oh yeah,
I had to do the Manx, so I did it on the 600 first, and I remember that step from a 600 to 1,000 being like, oh my God, this is completely different. And then getting back on the 600, once you've done a couple of nights of practice on the big bike, you get back on the 600 and you've got so much time. The time you didn't think you had when you were riding the 600, that first night of practice, then you go to the big bike and then you go back to a 600. You just think, wow, I have got so much time to think here.
Yeah.
But you haven't.
And that's what I was wanting.
Yeah, you haven't had that. Are you going to do the Super Sport this year? Yeah. So you'll experience it this year, where you will. And it's, I don't want to say it's more enjoyable, because
you're still taking probably more risk in the corners to a certain extent, because you're carrying the momentum more. Because you don't. Problem is, you're on a 220 horsepower stock bike.
Yeah.
You just get there so quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're on a 600, it's 140 horsepower at a good 600.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got everything else that's happening now, but it just doesn't get there the same. But you have to take that extra risk, letting off brakes early and rolling through, and all of that. You have to do that, but you do get to sort of, I wouldn't say enjoy it. Maybe possibly, I haven't done it yet, but you're gonna get a different sensation of doing it.
Like through Rencullen then into Bishop's Court, that fast ride after Rencullen 2 on a big bike,
you're there.
Oh God, and you fight on a 600. You can just you have to put a bit of input in, but it's flat and it hasn't got the same like, oh my God,
wants to kill me.
Yeah, it's a completely different experience once you've done the big bike.
So if you don't regularly ride a big bike, going on a 600 is probably the smarter thing to do. But if you regularly ride a big bike, actually doing it your way around is probably the smart thing to do.
So I think the way they did that with you makes complete sense, for that familiarity of not expecting you to change something. Equally, my opinion is that when you do it on a 600, you have got so much more time.
Yeah.
The context of how you apply that to each individual rider is specific to the person, isn't it? And that's how the organisers will work, is everybody that wants to put an entry in applies, and it's each individual application is independent to that person. What have you done? What do you ride? What's your background? They're looking at that. It's not, well, that's the rule for newcomers. So I get it.
And I guess too, like a majority of newcomers are through the Manx. There's obviously special circumstances for a few people each year. What's there, 3 or 4 maybe this year? Only 2 of us last year. But I see they've obviously changed the rule. You can't do superbike and stock and senior races this year on a big bike.
As
a newcomer?
You can only do one or the other.
Yeah, you can. No, you can't do the 6 or the long races. So you can only do stock 1,000.
For
obviously, you can do all the practice on one bike.
Yeah,
but you can't do the 6 lap races.
I believe that's what they brought in this year from.
Well, I get that.
I get that.
I get that. Yeah. I've like 6 laps around there. The last lap, you are absolutely hanging out.
I was like that after 3.
Well, yeah,
I was like that after 6 laps at the Northwest. I wanted to get off it.
Yeah,
I remember doing my second pit stop and setting off and thinking, fuck mate, I've
got to come past you.
I've got to come back. Yeah, and going through onto that last lap and just thinking,
not again.
It's just one more lap, but you've said that to yourself. Yeah.
And I guess it's just so long, isn't it? It's just like
it is
nothing.
You're doing a sprint race, a circuit race.
Yeah, in the whole thing,
and then you have to do another circuit race, and you have to do 6 of them. Like people don't realize, like 6 laps is it's a long time, and it's you can say that it's not intense, but your brain is operating.
I was just
exactly.
about to
Yeah.
say to you, if somebody said to you, right, you've got to do 18 minutes of short circuit, you can relax because, well, like we said before, you're going around in circles, aren't you?
Yeah.
Nice and quickly. And every minute and 40 seconds.
I still don't know where I'm going. I've only done 23 laps.
You going around
Whereas
there.
you can do 23 laps in 2 sessions at Donington.
Yeah. But I think that it's a mindset thing as well, isn't it? So knowing that pit lane is just there and I'll be back there in a minute and I can stop and get off it.
Yeah.
Is like got to be part of it, isn't it? I suppose when you set off on that lap, it's a big commitment just to get back round, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a long way.
You have to make every opportunity you can rest. You have to take every opportunity. Cronk your body. I can
And
rest.
it's so hard to on a big bike.
Yeah, well, because you're hanging on, because you're getting buffeted.
Do you get
around
any
the
rest
ring.
in a straight line, really, though?
Not really.
Well, no,
you like
because
try
you're
and
trying to
take a
get
breath.
tucked in, aren't you? But
You're like, I need to take a breath.
do you consciously say to yourself, just get some air in?
Yeah.
Does
Does anyone have anyone drink?
I don't know.
I don't think so, because it's connected to your helmet, and like Dino obviously runs a helmet change. Most people do a visor, but I haven't seen anyone.
No, I haven't seen
I've
anyone.
often wondered that, like, just because.
But the camo pack, them camel pack things are they're a little bit shite, really.
Does no one use them in 24 hours?
They do, but
If you got a proper factory setup, like, I'm sure you
could make some at work.
the boys use them at Suzuka, but you are sweating more than you're drinking. And by the time you've got yourself anywhere near thinking, it's all gone.
Yeah.
You know, they hold like the same as a can of Coke.
Right.
330
Yeah.
minutes.
They literally fit into the.
It's
Into
into
the-
speed hump,
yeah.
but then now they're trying to put obviously your
You've got
electronics for your airbag systems in your hump
Yeah,
as
so
well.
it's not really
So
viable.
they're trying to get that and the gas cartridge and something for you to get hydrated. It's 300 to 400 mil. It's not a huge amount.
Obviously, talked a bit about your experience for going as a newcomer and how you found it and how you approached it. Doing the same thing again this year? Back with the same team, or?
Yeah, so back with Paget's, obviously Super Sport as well as the still on just the stocker, just no Superbike.
But you can ride it in the Superbike races
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
it's just the same bike. So I don't believe well, you look at Pete and he's got the fastest lap on a stocker anyway.
Yeah.
Northwest, you might go, it'd be nice to have another 10, 15 horsepower. End of the day, it's
When you're at a level. That,
maybe in the future or whatever, you know, that might be something worth dabbling in, maybe next year, whatever it may be. So, but at the end of the day, the stockers are so good now. Like, I guess, and that's back to the TT as well. Like, the bikes are almost too fast for a newcomer now.
Yeah.
That's
You
where
can
my
go-
600
you can-
point comes in.
You can go back to 2016, you know, the old Fireblade, the old GSXR. Bunch of those bikes were so easy to ride and so user friendly,
Yeah.
and they were 180 horsepower, 170 horsepower maybe for a stocker, somewhere around there, not 220 off a stocker, you know.
Yeah.
So the same thing, and they were quite easy to ride. The chassis aren't as rigid, so that side of things it was probably not so bad. But then now in the current era, you know how aggressive these bikes are.
Yeah.
It maybe is not the right thing having. I mean, don't want to ruin it for anyone, but yeah, maybe, you know, as a newcomer, and I felt like I was fairly, you know, well.
You're proficient
Sort
at
of-
doing it.
yeah.
Did you know that Dean Harrison had never ridden a stock? He'd never ridden a 1000cc bike until he rode it down Bray Hill.
Really?
Isn't that mental?
Yeah.
Like my head rolled off at
You
that.
haven't ridden one at Scarborough?
The first time he rode a 1 litre bike was going down Bray Hill.
Hellfire.
Isn't that mental? Anyway, sorry.
Wow.
But like you've obviously done a lot on a big bike.
Yeah. Well,
So-
pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So,
Other than a bit, you'd probably.
and even for me, I'm like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Physically and mentally as well, it was a lot.
So excited to now go back and ride a 600.
Yeah, excited to ride both bikes, and obviously
There's
put
a bit
in.
more to work at.
Yeah, and like obviously you've had 12 months to take it all in and not go, I'll go fast there, but just go, you know what you're expecting now.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm still a newcomer, you know, like I've had 23 laps. So as a newcomer, we've still got to start again,
Yeah.
essentially.
remember it all when you get there,
Yeah.
and don't turn left, turn right.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
turn left. Don't turn right out the pits anyway.
Oh yeah, well there is that. Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. So actually, really glad to see you on the 600. It'll be exciting to
Yeah.
fully progress on that.
Fortunately, I've had it out in Spain and done a bunch of laps out there.
I have. Brilliant.
And you were
so-
testing at Donington a few days ago.
Yeah, but only on the big bike. So
Okay.
yeah, so we got a 2025 generation bike, 24, 25, 26 gen bike.
With the split throttles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I've been riding at home, not the 23, which is what we were on last year, which is what Luke's still on for stock now.
Is he?
Why is that?
Oh, he really fits well with the bike.
That's so you just preferred it.
Yeah, he just prefers it. So I think he's going to have a ride on this one with the split throttles at some stage.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what he thinks of it. But yeah,
Awesome.
and he'll still be fast. Obviously, he's just that sort of guy. You know, just so experienced and knows how to make it happen.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
We've got some questions actually that obviously will. I don't know what it is with me, but I keep saying the word obviously. So can you just punch us next time I say that, please? Apologies. I just keep saying it. Yeah, we've got some really good questions for you from the patrons. The first one's from Rob Kirk, who's said, "Hi Mitch, who is your racing hero?"
My dad for sure. He's definitely one. Motocross, obviously, as I was so invested in that, Josh Coppins, Ben Downley they're definitely for sure were some of my heroes, growing up watching them, and then I guess maybe some road racing stuff. Obviously you got Rossi, and then you've got Marquez, and for me, Marquez is probably one of the guys. People argue against that, but for me, I watch the dude, and you're like,
That's impressive.
the shit he can do on a bike, and you're like, and he can ride a dirt bike well, unreal as well. So he's just.
I bet he's got a really small penis.
Just one of those
or
guys.
something.
You keep telling yourself that.
So yeah, for me, I think that's sort of my sort of list, I guess, of people that.
Awesome.
Got another one from Leo Evans. I like this one. I don't think you could start your TT career off better than with Padgett's. What was the best bit of advice Clive gave you last year? And was staying with them the only option that you looked at for this year? I think that's a mega question.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Clive, there was no advice. It was go and have fun.
Fair play.
There's no pressure. You just go and enjoy yourself and see you after. That's it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. No, there was a few options. There was some other branded options, some BMW offers, some Fireblade offers, things like that. I guess the hard one for me is at least I knew what I was getting to a certain extent with Clive. Obviously we had a good time last year. We did really well, and it was hard to not go back. And then there was a lot of things I wanted to change as well. So as long as I got those changes, then that I was really happy with coming back with them again. So.
And they were happy to accommodate that.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, like I said earlier, we operate our own gig at home, and you have to, it doesn't happen otherwise. So,
Yeah.
It's very grassroots style. Obviously we do it in a professional manner. But for me, I wanted to be okay, I want some sort of control. I want to be able to work with, the electronics. I know what I'm sort of doing with them. And then, learning and I brought my own suspension over as well, which he wasn't opposed to. So for me, it was,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it was, he's made that sort of work, and, I'm happy with what he's given me, and,
Is
it's
that
great.
a different brand entirely then, or?
Yeah, so it's YC suspension. So we've been developing the shock for the last 3 years at home with a guy called Robert from Kiwi Suspension Solutions, and then we've literally only just bolted a set of fork internals in a month before I came over. So bolted them in, tested them, and then we've sent them out. So they're even potentially going to send someone over for TT.
Oh, wow.
And I brought 2 shocks out. Probably going to build another set of fork internals to try as well. So that's just to focus on the Superbike or the Stocker. The 600 will be on KT, I think it is. So
Yeah.
but it'd be good to have a little bit of a foot in the door for YSS to do that as well. So
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. I love stuff like that, because I think there's a notion now, isn't there? Certainly short circuit racing, where you only ride the bike. And yes, I know there's engineers and mechanics who know way more than most of the riders and stuff, but it's nice that obviously Clive's been around a long time. It's nice that he wants to hear that and you have an input, because I think if you feel comfortable doing that and they're able to work with you, then it's a huge benefit, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And just to work probably more in the way that we work at home, it's been nice to have that. And I've got my dad over here. He's been out with us. So, we sort of, obviously we work together really well, and to then bring that into the Paget's team. And obviously for short circuit, they're focusing on Luke, which is fine. That's what it's about. For me, I'm focusing on roads. So we're trying to figure out some things, and they're kind of like almost to a certain extent leaving us to it to figure that out and get us a good base level, which, I mean, it's pretty good anyway. It's just me learning the tyres more than anything.
Are you going to do the first few rounds of BSB again?
Yeah, so same, basically exactly the same as last year.
Awesome.
Which would be cool. So
cool. Another question here from Michael Harrison. To be fair, we've kind of answered this, but we'll just quickly go back through it. But Michael's question is, what's it like traveling halfway around the world to race, and how hard is it? And what is the standard like in New Zealand in terms of talent?
Oh, obviously we've seen the talent's pretty good. We've had Shane, Damo, Cormac, just in recent years come over and be some of the best guys, maybe me.
No, I don't think maybe. I think that's
so yeah, obviously the talent's pretty good. The vibe's pretty good, it's pretty relaxed, pretty chill. Some cool circuits. It's nice and warm now, obviously. It's opposite side of the year, so for obviously anyone coming from this side of the world to the good side, the bottom side of the world. It's we love having people come over, because we know how hard it is to get here. So for us, it is such a financial expense to get here. I think last year, with everything Clive helped with and everything like that, and he's given me a van on loan this year as well, and a whole bunch of stuff, like people helping out, living with Davey free and stuff like that. It still costs a whole bunch of money to come and do it.
Yeah. 100%. And I think just on that, I think when people ask about the talent, you could argue anyone who goes to Grand Prix or goes to do the TT or can come and run at the front of British Championship in a place where maybe the pool's a bit smaller and the facilities are maybe a bit less, or the scene is different for sure. Actually,
speaks volume.
Yeah, you could argue that the talent's more, isn't it?
And then you've got so much experience too with your circuit, and that's what we get when we're at home. We have so much experience with our circuit, so
you're coming and playing in our park now, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So for it to happen the other way, and for the pool to be so much bigger and so much faster, instead of going from 3 guys that are fast to
30 guys.
30 guys, especially in stock, that are it's not
on tracks that we've all grown up racing on.
Yeah, exactly.
And our tracks aren't notoriously difficult to learn, as a lot of the European lads find when they come. You get all these lads out of World Superbike, and Spanish guys come over and they just think.
Well, I think people probably don't.
Park?
Yeah, and I guess Donington's quite a high class facility. Donington's okay. Our facilities, they're not by any means worse than what is over here or anything like that, and the tracks are just as good, but the tracks over here are definitely a lot more technical to learn. If you come and ride at Manfield, it's pretty easy to get up to speed, because it's drag strip, corner, drag strip, corner, drag strip, and then it's a little chicane section, and you're it's over pretty quickly. Whereas Donington, you got a lot of undulation, and then people go, "Oh, watch out for craners." So then you're and they're nervous going down craners every lap. And then you just see just scrape mark after scrape mark, and then
especially in this time of year,
and then Alton's, same thing. I really struggle with Alton, just so blind and wanting to deer in the headlights, which is great learning for road stuff, but it is very hard, and then trying to learn that and learn it at a fast pace to then be competitive.
Yeah.
In the stock championship is very difficult.
The last question from James Glass. Hi, Mitch. I was really impressed with how fast you went on the roads last year. Well done, mate. Do you think 130 mile an hour TT lap is a reasonable goal for you this year? Best of luck for the year.
Yep. I've already said it. Unfortunately, I don't know who I said it to, but Yeah, I mean, for sure that was the goal last year. You've got to have a goal. Do I think I could have got there? Maybe not. I did struggle a lot more than I thought I was going to. I was also still injured from my Northwest crash. So I struggled a lot with that. And then I was also sick as well on the last half of the week at TT, so that didn't help either. Coulda, woulda, shouldas. Maybe would have. And same this year, like I'd like to think, if we get some good practice and stuff like that, we'll make another step. If I get a dry track, it would be quite nice to ride. Bit of sunshine. So, yeah, I mean, that for sure is a goal to do 130 mile an hour. Is it going to happen? Well, I guess we'll see. And I'm not going out there to
try and do that and say,
If it happens, it happens at the end of the day. So,
yeah.
I'm not taking any extra risk to prove a point or be like, I'm the guy that did 130 this year on a second year, whatever, So,
You're within your own limits, but you.
Yeah, for sure you're trying, but yeah.
What is the if you don't mind me asking, sorry that I don't know this, what was your lap time last year?
126.4, I think it was.
So not
It's good going, that.
Bloody slow.
Going,
Sounds ridiculous to say that, doesn't it? Like 44 miles an hour off what was like a huge milestone, and there's only 10 people in that club? There's 10 people now?
It's more than that.
Yeah, it must be close to 20 now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought there was only like 10 people who'd done that.
James Hind last year.
Craig
Nathan
Neve.
Harrison.
So the top, but the top.
Craig Neve, Sean Anderson, they all did 130s.
Okay, so
I think Paul Jordan was right on the cusp.
And then you got all the
originals, yeah.
So they'll be, like you say, they'll be.
So the top
50, kind of 20, won't they?
The top 15 finishers are capable of 130s.
Yeah.
Maybe have done.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Like you say, you just let it come to you, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. You can't force it.
You need every night of practice to be decent weather, and you get clean runs. You need your suspension to work exactly as you want it to work. You need the bike to be happy. No drama, no aggro.
Yeah.
And it'll come to you.
Unfortunately, obviously I've got a great team for that. So
yeah. But the reality of it is it could piss down
and you could,
until Friday, and then the organisers are scrabbling trying to just find you any bit of track time they can do. It's dry to Ramsey, and then you're gonna have to follow a car over the mountain, but at least you can get some laps in. You just have to take what they can offer you, and they'll do an outstanding job of getting your track time where possible safely.
It's such an experience thing. The roads in general are just such an experience thing, like even our little short ones at home, it's just experience. You need that experience to be
knowing where to go quick and where to put yourself safely.
Yeah.
And just learning, and even for me, it was just lap to lap. It's like, oh, there's a bump there. So then you're standing on the pegs rather than sitting on the seat and getting kicked in the ass, So all those little things that it just takes time that you just learn. Like I had a massive moment at Ringcullen too. I don't know if anyone's seen it. Well, it's on video.
You got crossed up coming out of it.
Yeah, and that was just purely just came out of the turn and I was a little bit narrow, and I just jumped on a little bit of an angle, and it just, unfortunately, you just had a little bit of a moment, and it was just a bit of a tank slapper, and fortunately I was straight up and down with the road, so you didn't get out of control, but it was just one of those.
I think I have seen that.
Enough to get the heart rate going a little bit.
And he says I got a little bit of a tank slapper. I want it feet off the pegs job.
That may be kind of hard.
Yeah.
Depends who's listening.
If it's what I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was feet off the peg. Yeah.
Davey said he was going to punch me in the teeth if I did anything like that, and then he's like, I see.
Yeah, you just have to take your time, don't you?
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah.
And chip away at it.
Yeah. And that's where, like we talked about earlier, the 600 is, because you're going slower, you can maybe sometimes learn that without so much
sticking your neck
consequence.
out.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're going silly fast, and a lot of the times I'm too scared to be full throttle because it is so fast.
Yeah. I think you'd be surprised at how the 600 does help you.
Yeah.
I think
well, especially now you've had a year on a big bike, to your point, maybe that. Yeah, we'd love to get you on again actually after to find out exactly
when you've
how
done your
that,
130 and you've done some laps on the 600. Come back on and tell us, do a debrief with us.
Yeah.
Before you go back to New Zealand.
On that topic, actually, there's we've just recently got a new listing on the Chasin the Racin Shopify store, which is actually a guide to the Isle of Man TT, not necessarily the circuit of how to ride it fast, but written by a guy called Alex Chapman. It's I've had a quick scan through it. It's like a really good guide, and I personally went to the TT for the first time 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago maybe, and for the first few days, I like never left the paddock or never went any further than Bray Hill, and I wish that I had like read something like that because I feel like I missed loads of it. And then when I went back, I did a lot more. So yeah, highly recommend anyone who's traveling over, even if you've been for years and you maybe just need like a new spot or something, or like some of the places you should go and watch. There's obviously millions of places you can go and watch from. Yeah, check out the guide that Alex has put together. It's up on our Shopify store now. Check it out, and make the
100%.
most of your trip.
Yeah, it would be good. Like I know when I went and watched was only 2 years ago, and it's like, yeah, you just go and watch at places like everywhere. Pretty much you can go to is like just awesome to watch from because
it's a spectacle.
Well, like I said before, it's your average speed's over 200 kilometers an hour, so that means you're doing over 200 more than you're not.
Yeah.
So
It's mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So wherever you go and watch, generally, and
the odds are they're going to be doing it.
Yeah. There's so many good places, and
you like it looks mad on the videos. But until you stand at the side of the road and watch it, it looks absolutely mental.
But I still think watching at the side of the road or videos is so much worse than doing it.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I haven't done the TT, but I can vouch for
we had
that.
a mechanical at Le Mans test last week, and I had to take a slip road, and the slip road meant that I had to come back onto the track to get back to pit lane. And I looked over my shoulder, and there was a guy coming out the chicane towards me, and he'd come out the chicane coming towards me. I thought, fucking hell, that looks fast. And I looked at what number they were. I thought, he looked like he was like on it, and like quite. I'm at the side of the track thinking, fucking hell. And I got back in. The first thing I did was go to the screens because I thought, who was he? Because he looked like he was well below where we were, like a long way down.
It is weird though, because I do the same I watch, and I'm like, I'll watch the super sport class like at home, and I'm like,
what are we doing?
These dudes, they're on the pipe on that side. I'm like impressed, like watching some of the boys at home, and then I'm like, but I actually do that, but I do it like 3 or 4 things like faster. So
what does that look like?
And that is absolutely the TT down to a T. Is to do it is not because it's controlled and you're so focused in what you're doing and you're so committed to what you're doing. All of that fear's irrelevant, really.
It's such a weird. Like I say, I was explaining that to someone on Friday. Well, Kev Pinder actually sent me a video when we were at the Northwest of going through station, and I didn't believe that it was me. I thought it was a video of somebody else, and he was saying, "Oh, you need to like try this line or something." And honestly, it scared the shit out of us. I thought, I wish you hadn't have sent it. I wish you hadn't have showed me that video.
Yeah, friend, which is now a sponsor, Al Miller from Miller Transport. He tagged me in a video last year, me going through Gorse Lee. And
you're
I'm
like,
whoa. Yeah, and I'm like, because in my mind, I'm like, like if shit hits the fan, I'll just end up broken in a paddock somewhere. And I'm like, oh no, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Through that.
Yeah. Because you're like, you're actually, it's unreal how fast, like, especially Gorse Lee, that you're just like, and it's only 5th gear. It's not even 6th gear, but you're like, Jesus.
Yeah. It's sketchy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's sometimes the videos are worse, but we could talk about that all night.
Yeah.
But look,
go and watch TT.
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't watched it, obviously they've got the service and stuff. I've said it again. Punch me.
Obviously,
punch me.
No, I'll give you that one.
There's the TT live stuff, which I subscribed to it last year, and it was fantastic.
I think is it Behind the Hedge? I think the first episode's like just come out. So.
Yeah, they've got a load of different content now. Basically, I don't know all the content. Go and have a look on YouTube. Go and have a look at the TT website. There is a load of stuff that you can get now. It used to be very, not gated,
and it's
but
good
it just
value
was
for money too.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch back through years of stuff. And,
there's loads of things, isn't there? And you used to have to, like, I used to watch it on a video.
I used to have a guy come into the shop, and like every year he would buy the Isle of Man TT DVD.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point like it wasn't being sold anymore because like it wasn't live broadcast at home in New Zealand. So he like wanted to watch it. So he'd like come in and like buy the DVD and like every year. So
to get back and watch it. Yeah.
It doesn't need to now.
No, it's good. It's
Live Pass is unreal.
Yeah, really.
BSB
That's what it's called. Yeah. Oh, well,
for New Zealand anyway.
Let's not get into that. But I didn't realise you couldn't stream it there, but that's definitely another topic. Absolutely loved loving finding out a little bit more about your history and stuff, and all the best for the TT this year. And thanks ever so much again for driving up to sunny Newcastle. Although it'd be dark Newcastle now, I'd imagine. But
It's not raining.
It's been good the last few days, isn't it? So no, it's good. Thanks for having us on. And it's cool to join the crew on here, and it's nice to meet you properly. And
thanks for giving your time.
No, it's been good. Yeah, enjoy it, love it. It's cool to tell our side of the story from little old New Zealand, or even the Aussie boys. I think who'd you have been Curry on here not long ago?
Yeah.
I listened to that one and listened to the McGuinness one the other day with the boys on there, so it was good.
Crack. It's always good value.
Yeah. So, no, awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, mate. And big thank you to our sponsors as always. WSC Performance, JCT Truck and Trailer Rental, and this week's episode sponsor,
Mongol work boots, which I'll gonna get a pair and then I'll report back. We're gonna sort it out.
I can have a go at Joe for being in a catalogue this week.
I won't be in the catalogue.
Didn't we talk about earlier? Mongrel Boots is going to sponsor us here.
Or six. Yeah, or six.
Yeah.
I do get through boots quickly.
Yeah, they need some at Team Rees Motorcycles in New Zealand.
If anyone logs onto the Le Mans 24-hour coverage,
and I'm stomping around in my Mongol work boots.
Hey, we're always looking for helmet sponsors, eh, boys?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so they can tune in there.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Awesome.
See you soon. Bye.